Nothing upsets me more
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
than dumbass crap.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
Grand slam for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Jace Tingler, he's not supposed to swing at that pitch. Why?
We're not trying to run up the score or anything like that.
Today's guests, LA Times Lakers beat writer Tania Ganguli, two-time Super Bowl champion head coach Tom Flores, three-time NASCAR Cup Series champion and 2020 Hall of Fame inductee Tony Stewart, plus actor Jim Belushi. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. It's just us chickens on our YouTube stream today on youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Our friends at NBCSN are showing you playoff pucks, and we'll be talking about what is going on in that world through these 3 hours, not just on our YouTube stream, but Sirius XM, and then locally here in Southern California on the mightier 1090. We say hello to our radio audience. Mike Del Tufo's off today. Chris Brockman, do we want to say where he is? Is Jason, our boy Jason, sitting in for him today?
We absolutely need to say where he is.
Closing.
This is ridiculous.
He's closing on his new boat. Imagine.
Not a euphemism for anything. That's what's happening.
Here, all right. Let's just place that aside for a minute.
All right.
We'll put a pin in that for our program. So Mike's off today, and we'll tell you a
Mike's
little bit more about
coming in,
closing on his. It's
and he's
easy.
grinning.
I don't know if it's easy to grin. I don't know.
Yeah, he would claim he has the stock market beat.
Yes, he does. That is true. He would do that. Okay. Let's start. Let me get this date correct for all y'all, as they might say. Let's start with April 28th, 2013. Do you know what happened on that date, Christopher Brockman?
April 28th, 2013.
April 28th, 2013 was the last time the Los Angeles Lakers took to a playoff basketball floor before last night.
Nice.
It was the night, April 28th, 2013, the night they got swept out of the first round of the playoffs by the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard, who has more Los Angeles playoff wins so far this year than the Lakers. And as we speak,
Fact.
That was the year, if you remember, Kobe blew out his Achilles, and they were clearly shorthanded getting into the playoffs, which they achieved because Kobe played a lot before blowing his Achilles out. So last night, first time in 7 years that we saw the Lakers take to a playoff basketball floor. And if I told you, Christopher Brockman, when we left here yesterday, that these facts would play out by the end of the night in the Orlando bubble, Anthony Davis would score 28 in his first game as a Los Angeles Laker in the playoffs. LeBron James
had a monster game.
Would, in his first playoff game as a Los Angeles Laker, file the first ever stat line of more than 20 points, 17 rebounds, and 16 assists in the history of the association playoffs. How about that?
Yeah, they popped that up when he got the 15th rebound. It was like first player ever to go 20, 15, and 15.
How about that? Has never happened.
Crazy.
And the Lakers' defense would hold the hottest offense in the entire bubble since they started bubbling up in Orlando to just a mere 100 points. That's it. Fewest points the Blazers have scored since the NBA bubbled up. If I had told you those three facts would play out, you'd say the Lakers would win, wouldn't you?
I would have said that would have been a blowout.
Yes.
Blowout.
Instead, look who took down the Lakers last night. 100-93. Fittingly, there's 2 zeros in the Blazers' final score because number 0 is just so much fun to watch. And
seriously. Double 0 had a huge shot at the end.
That's true. 00. had a huge shot at the end. Carmelo Anthony against his banana boat friend with a big three. I think that three took place in between a Damian Lillard just after half court, and that huge logo in the middle of half court makes the front court or the back court, whatever you want to look much smaller than it really is, because that logo is so huge.
36 feet, that shot. They just showed it on Sports
36 feet. Damian Lillard made not one, not two, but 3 3-pointers of 30 feet away from the rim or more last
he had
night.
A huge fourth quarter.
Come on.
Wow.
And so Lillard hit that 3, then Carmelo hit the 3, and then Gary Trent hit a 3. And just when you and I are texting, like, hey, it looks like the Lakers are taking this game.
Yeah.
Lakers trailed for the last 3 minutes and change of last night's contest. I mean, hey, they played good defense. LeBron was doing everything he possibly could do.
He was getting everyone, you, me, TJ, everyone had open threes last night.
They did.
And nobody could make one.
Nobody could make
5 for 32 from 3.
5 of 32 from three-point range.
Like Danny Green. Come on, bro.
Danny Green, by the way, who was on that Spurs team that swept the Lakers out in their last playoff performance before last night.
You could see it going that way, right, in the third quarter. Can J.R. Smith get some run? Like, where was Deion Waiters?
Well, I we'll have the illustrious beat writer from the Los Angeles Times, Tania Ganguli, who's in the bubble with the Lakers. She will be phoning in about 14 minutes' time to talk about all of this. I mean, what more, I guess, could you possibly want? They played tight defense. LeBron and Anthony Davis went off. This is what you want. That's the formula. If I told the formula, however, here's the formula. The last year's Lakers were terrible on defense.
Yep.
Especially the transition. I mean, you want to run with them. They were terrible on defense. Remember last year at one point somebody had to shove LeBron out to the three-point line?
True.
I mean, that was basically that was the microcosm of the Lakers' defensive season in LeBron's first year here in Los Angeles. And they were terrible defensively, and then they couldn't make three-point shots. They couldn't make wide-open threes. They didn't have someone to do it. Last night, Kuzma was hitting the side of the backboard. The threes were so bad for the Lakers. Again, I was, juggling real life and sports life now that we're back from our hiatus. And so while hanging with the kids and also watching some of politics last night, was there the Lakers are so bad shooting that at some point, was there a conversation on Twitter about the rim being not level?
The rim was bent at one time. Anthony Davis went to the free throw line, and they actually took a timeout and several minutes, and they had to readjust the rim.
Okay.
Dwight Howard dunked and moved.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Superman dunked it? Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't actually, looking at the box score, you said Anthony Davis had 28 points. It didn't seem like he had a good game because his plus-minus was -20. Every time he was out there, the Blazers were running away with the game.
And there was at one point, look, I love Alex Caruso. I love his hustle plays. At one point, he did, I think, create a steal and then created a basket for the Lakers. He took a 3 at one point in the last 3 minutes of the game. It's just like, this is
not Caruso
literally
time.
Like Troy. This is, there's nobody on the bench tapping their wrists for that one.
That would be awesome, though, if Caruso hit a couple shots and started doing the time.
Well, look, and the Blazers are feeling it right now.
Oh,
the Blazers are
question.
feeling it, and I thought the Turner broadcast was on top of last night, which is the story last night, which is, if you recall, Lillard, when the NBA was conversing about how to proceed, when to proceed, where to proceed, he basically said, I'm not coming if we in the Blazers don't have a chance to get in the playoffs. Right? Remember there was a conversation about only the top 8 seeds and maybe the 9th would get to go or something like that.
Yep.
how do you allow a team to catch fire and get in? And Lillard, I think he took some heat. Did he not take some heat for that?
Well, people were like, look, you don't want to compete, bro? Like, what's the deal? And he just flat out said how he was feeling. He's got a young family.
Right.
If he's going to go all the way down across the country, and he's from the West Coast, if he's going to go all the way down to Orlando and put himself through this, I want to be able to have a shot.
Yeah. And he's got shots.
He's got 36-foot shots.
And they asked him that afterwards, and they were talking about it during the game, that, hey, here's a guy who said, I want a shot. And the Blazers make the 8 seed, and they hang a loss on the Lakers. And again, I'll say it one more time here, and we're going to keep talking about this. I made the point yesterday, and I'll make it again today. And I know there's no changing it, and I know the reason why the circumstances are that they are. My gosh, we all live it every day. We sense it every day. We know it every day. We fear what's going on in the world every day. But we're beginning to see here, how many times do we spend watching playoff basketball talking about how, forget about the rim being bent, the figurative playing field, the court tilted in the direction of the home team.
No, in the NBA, it's so bad. It's terrible.
Right, in the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
right?
Sure.
That somebody blows somebody out in games 1 and 2 and then gets blown out in games 3 and 4. We see it all the time.
The free throw discrepancy,
right.
All the time.
Although, I think, the finals last year were completely different, right? Didn't road teams were just winning left, right, up, and down. Yeah. But I guess we're seeing for the first time, what if the NBA played an entire playoff on a neutral court?
We're seeing it.
We're seeing it. And I think that's part of the reason why we saw yesterday the first instance in 17, 18 years of both 8 seeds winning game 1 of their 1-8 playoff series. You know, the same way that I thought just for a brief minute where I lost myself and lost sense of what's going on in the world. Watching the game 1 between the Clippers and the Mavericks thinking, well, Clippers are going to have a tough time winning in Dallas. Oh, that's right. There's no such thing this time around. We're going to see this, and I think we're going to see why the 1 seeds are a little bit in trouble here. And, you know, your idea of live betting during the Rich Eisen show and us calling you out on it yesterday, Christopher, didn't work out for you. Magic win by 12.
Didn't work out. Thank you, Miami Heat, though. Appreciate that.
Okay. Oh, they made it up for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then I lost it all again.
And by the way, Rockets, man. Harden looking phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I just can't figure that team out. I mean, it's been a few years we've been able to say that, but just can't figure them out.
Well, when Russ is going to be there, and they're going to be.
Is he going to be?
Well, at some point, don't you think?
I would imagine, but I mean, there's been whispers that he's not going to play at all this postseason. I'm sure James Harden's okay with that. More shots for him, but
I can't wait to see it play out. But the Lakers, man, game 1. You're laughing, Clipper fan over there, TJ Jefferson, Clipper fan. Well, you know who's all over it? You and Charles.
Yeah.
Barkley saying that there's going to be a sweep.
Broke out the broom.
He broke out the broom. Literally, they throw from the bubble to the Atlanta studio, and there's Charles sweeping up behind Ernie and Shaq and the Jet. Poll question, Christopher, at Rich Eisen Show. Hit it, please.
Yeah, let's react to yesterday. Bucks and Lakers go down. Which 1 seed should be the most panicked right now? Bucks, Lakers, both or neither? Bucks, Lakers, should they both be panicked? Or no, it's all good. At Rich Eisen Show, vote, give us a call.
I know you don't want me to put the thumb on the scale.
Not
but
yet. I mean, I'd like you to wait a little bit before you.
You know how I feel about. You know how I feel about this Portland Trailblazer team. McCollum at 21. I'll just say this here too before introducing our entire guest list of the day. Does Carmelo have no respect anymore from the officials? I was even texting you.
I know.
How many times he would get fouled and how many times. I guess these things happen. Obviously, you got to play better than the ref, but there are many times where Melo wasn't even getting the call against Alex Caruso, or he wasn't getting the call against name a Lakers not getting the calls. Then he jars that 3.
Jarred it.
I mean, you've got a
catch and shoot Melo
You
style.
have a future. You have a future member of Springfield, Massachusetts.
Without
we're
question.
in double zero, playing a significant role, more and more significant for a Blazers team that has the most exciting player in that bubble. I'll say it. I know we can. I just talked about Harden. I know we're seeing Doncic again tonight.
Yep.
I know there's Kawhi, for my Clipper friend.
I mean, he's right there on the shirt.
I understand that. Nobody's more exciting than Damian Lillard. He's got the Curry in him, where you get past half court, you better pick him up. You better see where 0 is. He can dish, he can slash, and he is absolutely intoxicating to watch, and I can only imagine what it means to play with him. I can only imagine. And they're feeling it, man.
Yeah,
they feel it.
Man.
Okay.
I mean, Nurkic is on the bench pointing to his watch. It's a fun game, man. If they take out the Lakers coming into the year, the prohibitive favorite to win the championship, it'd be huge.
We'll discuss it with Tania Ganguli of the Los Angeles Times, our neighbors, just to the just to the east of us here.
All right, across the street.
Right across the street. And look who's joining us at the top of hour number 2. How many times have I pounded this table in the near 6 years of the Rich Eisen show saying Tom Flores should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? How many times have I said that?
One have been the loudest drums.
Yesterday, Tom Flores got as close as he's ever been. He was named a finalist in the new category of coaches. One coach per year from 2021 through 2024 is going to be named by the senior committee. They finally are parsing it out because, coaches lose to contributors who lose out to senior players. Drew Pearson got named as a senior finalist. He's a finalist in the player category, and we'll get to that later. But Tom Flores, winner of not one but 2 Super Bowls as a coach, and we'll run down his bona fides of his list, of his resume later on this hour, before the 83-year-old Tom Flores joins us on the program.
Awesome.
Tony Stewart is going to be joining, speaking of Hall of Famers. He will be joining us to talk about the Indy 500. He's a NASCAR Hall of Famer, as we all know. He had a successful IndyCar racing career before hitting the NASCAR circuit.
If it's got 4 wheels, that guy's true.
And then Jim Belushi will join us. Discovery's Growing Belushi. And
God, what does that mean?
Well, if you could guess what he's growing in Southern Oregon, what do you think it would be?
Oh, so it's like growing.
Oh, yes.
I thought it was like growing up Belushi.
No, sir.
Herbal.
Oh.
And a little bit more powerful than that herbal tea you're drinking.
Oh. Does he want to send us some stuff?
Jim Belushi will join us. You can ask him yourself in hour number 3, Christopher.
I will.
I have questions.
And our poll question is available for you to vote on at Rich Eisen Show. My man love for my newest favorite Major League Baseball player
just got better.
Grew last night. Fernando Tatis has what we would say 0 in the chill department. God. I love it.
He is incredible.
I cannot get enough of it.
He is incredible.
He puts the mud here in 1090. Let's put it that way. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. We'll be back with Tania Ganguli to talk Lakers in a moment. So we're back on Sirius XM and our YouTube stream. What are our 454 saying over there, TJ? What do we have?
We're pretty much all over the place in here.
I haven't seen.
But we'll say this though, Rich.
Yes.
Your tweet about Tatis Jr. yesterday cost me money.
Why?
Hey, now what now?
I'll tell you why. Because after I saw your tweet, then I saw what he did, and then I remembered how we expressed how much we enjoyed the way he played.
Yes.
I took Gary V's advice. I went to StockX and I bought a Fernando Tatis Jr. rookie card.
Okay.
Oh, that was
based
a smart
on
move.
the second I saw your tweet, I was like, okay, yeah.
I think that's going to make you money in the long run.
So you cost me a little bit of scratch, but hopefully you're going to make me some scratch.
Well, maybe I should. I don't know if we'll be able to see this, but I will try. Keep the shot on me, Hoskins, here.
That's a great idea.
Because
TJ.
as soon as I sent that tweet,
Did someone hit you up?
Someone. Take a guess who hit me up. We're talking about a San Diego Padre. Who's the only San Diego Padre fan?
Daniel Jeremiah. I was texting him the other night as well.
As soon as I sent this text about Fernando Tatis Jr.,
I was like, why don't you have your Tatis jersey?
See? He's got, there he is with his shirt on. El Nino is what it says. That's what his nickname is, El Nino. I love him.
He's so
You know
good.
that's Spanish for the Nino, right?
Nice.
Thank you for hooking me on phonics over there. Appreciate that. Look at you.
Hey, TJ, which card did you buy?
Hold on.
Do you remember?
It was, should I say the price out loud?
No, don't say the price. Just what brand?
It was a Topps Chrome.
Got it.
I'm looking at some of the chit chat here. Somebody named Dean is asking where Del Tufo is, and Scrap Iron. He's buying a boat, Dean. I don't think he's buying it. He's closing on it, right? He's closing.
On it, yeah.
Dean's question was, no Del Tufo? WTF?
Yep. He's buying a boat, Dean.
And then look at Dean's next comment after that one, Chris.
Lake or open water? It's open water. This is open water. He's not lake boating.
No, this is no lake situation.
He's
this
open
is
water.
Pacific Ocean.
Way open water.
He likes to strip down and sail by himself.
As he should.
Are you serious?
Living his best life.
No, seriously.
No,
Are
he
you
did
serious?
have his shirt off in one of those Instagram stories the other day.
He claimed yesterday that he doesn't take his shirt off, but it looks like he's
in his boat pics. He's definitely not wearing a shirt.
Yeah. And I'm questioning the pants.
He's calling it Orca after the boat from Jaws, which he says he's seen more than any other movie, correct?
That's what he has claimed.
It's a terrible idea.
Well, of course it is, because Orca wound up as kindling.
It sunk. Yeah. It's at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
Might as well name it Titanic.
Right?
Right? What's the name of your boat? Oh, I called it Titanic. Oh, great.
Yeah, I bought it.
Oh, by the way, I just bought a Zeppelin. Guess what I named it?
The Hindenburg.
844-204-RICH is the number to dial. We'll be back in a second.
Then there's
844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the Rich Eisen Show. I don't know what I want to ask our next guest about more. And that's saying a lot about the fact that she's covering the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James on it and Anthony Davis on it for the first time. She's also there covering the Clippers, who have Kawhi and Paul George on them, correct?
correct.
But I kind of want to know what it's like to live in the bubble in Orlando. Like, what's it like to live in Walt Disney World for months?
I want to know if she's gone fishing yet.
Tania Ganguli of the Los Angeles Times, our neighbor just east of the Rich Eisen Show studio here in El Segundo, California, joining us from Orlando, Florida. How are you, Tania?
I'm good. I have gone fishing, and I caught 5 fish.
Yes!
I just wanted to start with that.
Well, where does one fish in the bubble? Is this a man-made situation, a human-made lake that's right there?
Oh, yes. Disney World is an entire kingdom of artificial things for people to do. So
Okay.
There are several lakes here. There's a lake actually like on the property where we live, but we don't fish. We didn't go fishing in that. We went to the Grand Floridian, which is the middle tier of hotels, and they have a lake there. And they took us out on a pontoon.
Yes.
We actually I did the pontoon ride the week before I went fishing, and then the next week went fishing, and yeah, they had a guide with us. He told us about the different things on the lake and the gators that we might see, and we didn't see any gators, but I did catch 5 fish. I was the champion of our boat.
Tania, way to take it down. Well done. Well done.
Incredible.
I guess then there are, we could have a little bit more fun with it, but then this is a serious issue, obviously, what's going on. It seems like everybody's, do you forget about what's going on in the real world at all? Or what is it like? Do you feel safe there in the bubble?
Yes, you feel pretty safe in the bubble. It's the NBA has taken so many layers of precautions, but it's kind of there's kind of like the they test you every single day, so
Okay.
you know that everybody you are coming into contact with has been tested. It can't be a true bubble because the people who work here, they go home. The people who test us, they go home. They leave the bubble every night. The people who work at the hotel, they go home every night, and they're in a place in Florida where, honestly, like when I first got here, I was checking like Florida numbers every day and like trying to see what was happening in the state. I haven't looked in a while, just because I'm here and I will find out if I contract the virus. I'll find out very quickly because I have the luxury that a lot of people don't have of constant testing. So, the bubble, I think like what we learned over the last few months is that the bubble system works because they can, because there's so much surveillance and you have no freedom here to do anything. And that can feel very oppressive, but that's really the only way to, unless you're truly quarantined, that's really the only way to make sure that that you're safe.
Absolutely. So, okay. So the people who are working to keep the bubble afloat by staffing the hotels and food and obviously the things that you need, shelter to live, they are coming and they are going. Are you taking this? I'm fascinated by this, by the way, because it's so important for what's going on in maybe non-bubbled sports and also maybe the whole country, because of what news came in the last few days that the FDA has approved the saliva test that the NBA and Yale have been working on for this bubble. Is that the test that you take every day, Tania?
Well, I don't think so, because they do an oral swab and they do a nasal swab for us, but it's not the deep. It's not the deep nasal swab that
Right.
they were doing initially.
Right.
So I believe that's a different test from what we've been taking so far. I don't know if that'll change because I'm going to be here for exactly 3 more weeks. I leave 3 weeks from today, and the league, the league will obviously be here for maybe 2 months, but maybe a little less than that. So, it's certainly possible that they switch over to that eventually.
So then let me get into this next part of our conversation. Tania Ganguli, the Los Angeles Times. Let's get into it using that as a construct. Who leaves the bubble first? You or the Lakers, Tania? What do you think?
I don't know, and that's really surprising. I think everyone's kind of assuming that they'll figure it out and they'll at least get through this first round. I'll be leaving in the middle of the second round, so if they get through this first round, it'll be me. But Portland has been. I think what was so interesting to me last night is that there was never a point where Portland felt like they couldn't win the game, and there were so many different moments where you thought, honestly, like if this game were at Staples Center, there were so many, that series in the second quarter when LeBron had three assists in a row, and it was a quick 8-0 run, and they hit 2 threes, which was shocking for how they've been playing lately. And you thought this is going to turn the momentum. Now the Lakers, they've hit a couple shots, they're going to pull their confidence together, but it just never happened. So, I think this bubble setting is just so strange for everybody that it's hard to know. I remember when I came in, everybody kept asking me, like, what do you think? Who's going to win? I was like, I have no idea how everybody's going to react to this setting, because it is, I know that people don't really have sympathy for NBA players being in luxury hotels, but when you can't leave, when you're told, like, this is where you're going to be for 3 months, that has a psychological impact. And I'm not saying only the Lakers are dealing with it. Obviously, everybody's dealing with it. But I just felt like that was a variable that people weren't considering enough.
Well, you want to talk about variable, bubble, non-bubble, the Lakers appear to be in the utmost extreme here. And I'm just wondering if maybe this game 1 loss might actually be the wake-up call, if that's necessary. You've been around this team and you have seen them, but the numbers do not lie. The Lakers, when they were playing in the NBA as a home and away team, had the best field goal percentage in the league. And in terms of, from the regular field, second best 2-point field goals. And now they have just been terrible. I mean, they have been in the lower third. You want to talk about tiers? Tier 3 of the league in virtually every possible scoring percentage. What gives, Tanya? What is happening?
Last in 3-point percentage. I don't know. I mean, see, it's weird because we'll go around to all these other teams and they'll say, "Oh, these are shooters' gyms. It's so much easier to shoot in here." Doc Rivers yesterday was talking about how, "Oh yeah, it's crazy how the offenses are all so far ahead of the defenses right now," and that's just not been the Lakers' experience. They've been, which is kind of like what you would expect. You would have expected that teams, after this long layoff, that one of the things that would take a little time was shooting. And offenses clicking together and being able to work well together. But for most teams that hasn't really come to fruition, but for the Lakers it certainly has. And I don't, there's really not hitting open shots is really, I mean, the answer to that is one day you will. I mean, that's what the Lakers keep saying. Like, well, we've done it before. We believe in the law of averages. That's like a big thing for them lately is it'll eventually turn around. But I mean, so far over the last 3 weeks that they've been playing, there's not been any evidence to support that.
Well, and I guess we were talking about it at the top of the show, Tanya, that that was one of the supposed fixes that got as a box that got checked off by the addition of Danny Green and so many others in this offseason, that last year they couldn't make an outside shot. They couldn't play defense, but the defense certainly has vastly improved. I mean, they did hold Portland to 100 points last night. So, so what is, I guess, the mindset? Have you being around this team? I mean, what do you think it is for the Los Angeles Lakers right now, Tanya?
I mean, that was the lowest that was the lowest scoring total for the Trailblazers in the bubble. Like, you would think that. I mean, I think what they were thinking is if we can play defense like this, we'll be able to win this game. I mean, there's nothing to say that they wouldn't be able to do that. So, it's. I mean, I think they're. They had some late defensive breakdowns that I think they feel like they can correct. I think they're looking at like small things because the game was so close. But it's very perplexing because someone pointed out yesterday, like, this is not the only team that's dealing with this bizarre situation, that's dealing with not having their fans there. Every team is dealing with that, and every team, there are some teams here who don't play in front of huge crowds, but in the playoffs, like most, you get that boost, and I don't know. It's something that the Lakers keep bringing up, and I would just wonder how much that's impacted.
I mean, we're sitting at home and they're pumping in fake crowd noise and stuff like that, and we're seeing, the fans virtually. Are you like? Do you hear that in the arena for the games, or are you just hearing sneakers squeaking and that's it, and people yelling just like it's an empty gym? Is that what these guys are playing in?
So that was the case early on. The first couple of scrimmages, that's how it was, and it was actually kind of cool because you could like hear what they were saying a lot better. But now they pump in a lot of crowd noise. It's very loud in the gym. They did something cool too last night where they would show every time the Lakers had a big play, they would show like footage of fans from games at Staples Center, and like they did like past games, and like they even went back. Like there was one shot that looked like it had to be from the 80s or something, and it was pretty cool to see. And I would have talked more about that in my game story if the game had gone differently.
I bet. No, but this is interesting. This is fascinating because I guess in games 3 and 4, are they going to do that for Portland? I'm serious. Like, are they going to start blasting stuff when Portland makes a big shot and things of that nature? Or are they doing that now? Because I think I am. Again, this is the sort of stuff I notice. I do think that whoever is the home team, that whatever, business deals they make to get something on the floor, they kind of check that box for the home team. And this is to me important to know because if there's anything that would possibly resemble normal home court advantage for a team in this weird bubble neutral site playoffs that we're seeing for the first time, I imagine that if that's good for even one call, 1 point, that might mean something, you know?
Yeah. So they definitely do. They definitely try to create a home court advantage artificially. So the crowd noise does it fits with like they'll do the introductions at the beginning of the game, and they'll get all the announcer who's Olivier Cedra is the person doing it in the Lakers in the arena that the Lakers have been playing in, and he actually was the PA announcer in Cleveland when LeBron was there. So he does like the pregame, and they've actually sent some audio of Lawrence Tanter.
Right,
yeah,
sure.
They've sent some audio of him saying certain things. I think he does the pregame introduction and some other things. So
Laker
they've
girls.
tried to create that.
Right.
They've done, yes. To answer your question, yes. When it's a Portland home game, it will be Portland signage everywhere. It will be the cheers will come when Portland does something good. Like that's all going to change. But you know what? It kind of backfired last night, because I don't know if you caught this moment, but Damian Lillard hit a 3 to tie the game at 87. And the Lakers come back on offense, and Dame runs down. He's standing right in front of me. And they start playing Blow the Whistle by Too Short. Mm-hmm. And this song is an Oakland song, and Damian Lillard is from Oakland. And in the middle of the game, he starts dancing. Just like he's back on defense, and he just starts dancing. And it's like, how could they have? The person who decided to do that song was probably just like, oh, it's a nice beat. It's a good upbeat song for the Lakers to come down on offense too. But it ended up being this fun little moment for Lillard, who from that point on, the Blazers really just took control of the game.
Well, I read in your post game in your write up in today's LA Times, Tania Ganguli here on the Rich Eisen Show. I mean, you quoted Kuzma basically saying, "Hey, you got to tip your cap." This guy, I mean, he is so out of his skull right now, and that's the thing for the Lakers. They're having trouble making shots when they need it. That yes, LeBron is finding people wide open, and what a stat line! It is actually literally unprecedented, his stat line last night. And you've got an unconscious player right now, who clearly is very comfortable in the bubble. And I would ask the poll question of Tania, please. Go for it, Chris Brockman.
Yeah, Tania, which one seed should be panicking the most, the Bucks, the Lakers, both, or neither?
What do you think?
The Bucks haven't looked good in the bubble either. But I guess I would say the Lakers, because the way that they played last night is how they've been playing in the bubble. So it's like, until you see that that's going to change, and, they're confident it will, but until you see that that's going to change, you don't know that it will.
Is Rondo anywhere in the
And they're
future?
Facing a better team.
That's
the other thing. They're facing a better team. The Magic are, I don't think they really have home court advantage, even though they're in their home market right now. The Trailblazers are not an 8. It's cliche at this point to say it, but they are not an 8 seed.
What about Rondo and anybody else? J.R. Smith, Waiters, is Vogel going to start pressing a ton of buttons, or just in rotation we trust? What do you think?
No, Rondo is close to coming back. He broke his thumb, and he just got back into the bubble a couple of days ago, or he just got back out of quarantine a couple of days ago. So they want to play him when he's back. I keep getting reminded by Laker fans really don't like Rondo, it seems. There's mixed emotions about that, but they really rely on him to be a settling presence. That's really important for them. They feel like so. That'll happen. I can see Dion getting some minutes too. So I don't think that what you saw last night is the end. the end of the story with how they're going to use their rotation.
Okay, before I let you go, just to be fair and balanced, the Clippers, I mean, Kawhi, Paul George, there they are out there, 2 Southern California stars now for the Los Angeles Clippers, taking care of business in Game 1 against a very talented young star in Luka Doncic. And, we assume Porzingis will play all 4 quarters in Game 2. What did you take away from the Clippers Game 1 and their ability to take this bubble down?
Yeah, the Clippers have been, they've looked good. And especially when you consider everything the Clippers have gone through. They had Montrezl Harrell on a minutes limit. They haven't really, throughout the last few weeks, they haven't had many of their players. Like they had 4 guys have to leave because of deaths of people close to them. They've had long quarantine. Lou Williams had that long quarantine. They're still kind of coming together, but they've been fine. Like I thought it was pretty telling that they were so close to the Lakers despite not having Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams in that first game that they played against each other. So. I would feel really good if I were the Clippers.
Tania, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Stay safe. We'll call you again in short order and see how many more fish you catch.
All right, I'll keep a tally.
Thanks for the call. That's Tania Ganguli of the Los Angeles Times. Lakers just need to make a shot. That's what hey, eventually it'll fall. That's what you say. Just keep doing what you're doing.
They had that moment in the 4th when they were up 6, and it seemed like the Blazers were kind of ready to pack it in. If they had hit 1 or 2 shots there, I think the game is completely different.
I know that, but that's what drives me crazy as a host sitting next to a coach like Mariucci. When I'm looking for an answer, I want to know what is wrong with this team.
Right.
And his response is typical coach, and it sounds like coach speak, but it is basically like Coach Dale from Hoosiers having the game plan in the leather satchel and waving it to the fans.
Yeah.
Mooch would always just say, just play better, execute better. and I'm like, come on, I need to know. Like, give me what? What is going on? X, Y, Z, let's do it. No, just play. Eventually the shots will go down. It's just a bad stretch. But what if the 2019-2020 Lakers season is essentially the story is COVID knocked them out. Knocked them out. They were ready to what they were doing in the NBA. They were on a roll. They were totally the best team. No question about it. You could talk about the Bucks a little bit for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay. But they could not handle the bubble. The bubble, they just didn't get ready in time for the playoffs. It was tough for them to get into it, and the Blazers were a hotter team and knocked them out.
Well, Bron and Anthony Davis missed 4 straight free throws. Again,
yes,
probably hasn't happened all year.
That's true. I know.
Just make a couple more shots, and that game's
I have a great...
That's all you got to do?
I have a great...
Make a couple more shots.
I have a great...
Seems easy, right?
Seems easy. Just make a few more shots.
I have a great trivia question based on LeBron's triple-double last night.
Okay.
Great trivia question. And when we come back...
After the break.
After the break. And when we come back as well, there's a new 4-letter word in the state of Texas, and it's Tatis. And I love it. By the way, we're on Peacock starting Monday. We'll talk more about that when we come back, too. The starting 5 on that Spurs team that swept the Lakers out in their last playoff season prior to this. You ready for it? The Spurs, Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Danny Green, Aaron Baines was the starter. You know, he came off the bench for 5 minutes.
Well, Ginobili was on that team too, right?
Well, Mano was coming off the bench. But you know who came off the bench for 5 minutes was Tracy McGrady.
Wow.
Was on that team. And with Kobe out, because he blew out his Achilles, the starting 5 for the Lakers on this night. Dwight Howard. How about that? So Dwight Howard has played back-to-back playoff games for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Amazing.
Earl Clark, Pau Gasol, Darius Morris, and Andrew Gudalak.
Who?
Right. TJ, do you remember who this is?
Andrew Galata?
No.
Who fought Riddick Bowe in Madison Square Garden? Is that what-
Played 33 minutes.
Low blow Galata?
Low blow Galata.
Pardon me, sorry. Gudalak. I honestly, I've never heard of him before.
And that was the Spurs team that went on to
Played
lose to
33
Miami
minutes
in the
and
finals
and
on
LeBron.
the crazy Ray Allen shot.
Right. The leader in minutes that night in that coming off the bench, Chris Duhon played 42 minutes and change.
A Blue Devil.
I mean,
By the way,
were they playing out? Were they playing
Lakers
out?
roster is
Dreadful.
Antoine Jameson is on there. So was Powell, but Devin Ebanks, Steve Blake is on that team. Jody Meeks
You want to talk about Kobe carrying a team?
and Ron Artest, Meta World Peace on that team.
Yeah, not with team was how he did.
Oh, there you go. I was looking at the roster.
And that night, there was a did not play, Devin Ebanks.
Okay.
Did not dress, Jody Meeks and Steve Nash did not dress.
Steve Nash was hurt that whole year.
And then not with team, Meta World Peace.
Okay.
The dreaded not with team designation. The old NWT, not with team.
I wonder what he did.
By the way,
Good question.
could be anything.
It could be any.
Could be anything.
Could be racing a NASCAR down, Rodeo Drive.
That Lakers team had 3 coaches, Mike D'Antoni, Bernie Bickerstaff, and Mike Brown. Wow. What a year. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show, 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Good chat with Tania Ganguli in the NBA bubble in Orlando, Florida. Okay, so you want my trivia question?
I do.
LeBron James last night, triple-double in his Lakers playoff debut. Only 3 other Lakers have had a triple-double at all in the last 30 years.
Okay, so we're
Only
going back
3
to
others.
1990.
Only 3 others in the last 30 years. LeBron James became the 4th. Who are the other 3, Chris Brockman?
So going back to 1990?
You can phone a friend to T.J. Jefferson. Going back to 1990, who are they?
Magic Johnson.
That is
for sure.
correct. That is 1.
Not Kobe, never passed.
That is correct.
Wouldn't have got enough assists there.
That is correct, not Kobe.
Let's see.
There are 2 others. Chris Brockman.
Let's see.
T.J. Jefferson sitting in our
Playoffs?
golf corner. If you want to phone a friend at all. Playoff.
Chime in if you have an idea.
You literally stole my not Kobe answer.
Do you
That's the
know?
only thing I had.
Okay,
to add to
there's
this.
2
I
others.
wanna say, like-
2 others.
Eddie Jones.
That's a good one. D-Fish?
No.
Like Devin George? Somebody
No.
weird? Somebody
There is
weird
one.
like that?
There is one that is an all-star. And
all-star.
one who was the only hint I will give you, patently disappointing. Who is one of the most disappointing Lakers of the last 30 years?
Karl Malone.
You got it?
No, I'm asking.
Again, no, the last 30 years.
Yeah, he played for the Lakers.
I got it. I know.
Disappointing.
A
Lakers
triple-double
of
in the
last 30
playoffs.
years. There are Lakers fans just screaming at us right
They
now.
are.
Well, just lay it out.
Pau Gasol has done it,
I was gonna,
but he's not the most.
Dang it.
Andrew Bynum
Oh. Had a triple-double?
in the playoffs.
With blocks?
In the last 30 years, only 4 Lakers have had a playoff triple-double. LeBron last night, Magic Johnson, Pau Gasol, and Andrew Bynum.
Wow.
What might have been.
The hardest of hardcore Laker fan did not know that.
I would agree.
Andrew Bynum should have been next.
He was.
He had all the skills.
He was
He had the
everything
skill set.
and that in the biscuit.
He had
And the Lakers thought they had another generationally great talent dropped in their midst. Then not. Speaking of generationally talented, good Lord, am I falling head over heels deep in love
We all are.
With Fernando Tatis Jr. I just cannot tell you how much I adore watching this guy play. Zero chill. Zero. And every possible unwritten rule you can think of. He hasn't bat flipped, I don't think. You know how I feel about bat flip, and I don't like showing people up like twirling it around and dancing around home plate like you're Frank Drebin in The Naked Gun as Enrico Palazzo, right?
Sure.
Fernando Tatis, everybody. 11 home runs, 28 runs batted in, 23 runs scored. Those are all clearing away the best in Major League Baseball so far. 6 stolen bases, that's tied for first, and 31 hits is tied for second. Because I think there's somebody named Charlie Blackmon and DJ LeMahieu playing in Major League Baseball, if I had to just guess off the top of my dome.
I'll tell you in a second.
But again, he's still on pace for over 70 home runs if this was a 162-game season. And we all know how the 2 nights ago, a 3-0 pitch, he mashes it for a grand slam home run that creates such a big to-do because the unwritten rule of baseball is you're supposed to take the strike, the cookie that's being thrown by Juan Nicasio down home plate, right down Broadway by the Texas Ranger pitcher, who I think walked the previous 9 batters or something like that, right? And so he's supposed to take that pitch.
Right.
And so I pointed out yesterday how ridiculous that is. You might as well, should he take all 3 strikes then? Is that what we're doing? Since the game's supposedly over and you're not supposed to hit a ball that's thrown in a hittable spot because you're supposed to take this as opposed to showing up the other team by hitting the pro forma, supposedly, strike that's coming over the plate, even though the other guy who's throwing it had such a problem finding home plate, the bases were jacked, and also it was a 3-0 count. So he's supposed to take that strike and then what? Ground out on the 3-1 pitch because that pitch is going to be less of a hitter's count. It's more in favor of the pitcher. It's so dumb. And the thing that drove me nuts is his own manager, Jace Tingler. With his bright, shining star, hitting home runs like this, said essentially, we're not trying to show up the other team. And it's a teachable moment for his player because his player had the take sign on and he blew through the take sign. Cut to last night. God bless this man-child.
It's amazing.
Standing on second base with 2 outs and a 6-run lead. Swipes third. And he swipes third. This is the chef's kiss of it all.
The best part.
It's the same pitcher on the mound. The one who threw at Machado the night before.
Right.
After he hit the home run on another guy.
Right.
And this is the guy brought in
He hit the home run,
like the goon in hockey to be put on ice to take somebody out.
Exactly.
So here's the guy who's throwing at his teammate who's taking the brunt of the stupid unwritten rule business, the dumbass crap that I said I can't stand anymore.
DAC.
That pitcher's on the mound, not paying attention, and he swipes third. And here's even more of the chef's kiss moment. He was dead to rights, but slid out of the way of the tag of the ball that beat him to the bag. And Chris Woodward, this is the manager of the Rangers, is so pissed. Last night, he calls and challenges, and he's wrong. Stay on third base, kiddo. And you keep swiping third with 2 outs, up 6. And you keep hitting home runs on 3-0 counts with bases loaded. You go, Fernando Tatis Jr. I love playing baseball this way. I love watching him play. And Padres fans, soak it in. Soak it in. The baseball gods have touched your team and said, congratulations, starving Padres fans. You've got this kid to watch and root for. He is so much fun to watch, and I can only hope, I didn't hear what Tingler's post-game press conference was. I hope he didn't go on his Zoom and say, well, it's a teachable moment because he had the hold sign on second base and he ran through it. I hope we're not doing that because name it. Seriously, name it. Go ahead and name it. Last San Diego team that had somebody dropped out of the sky by the sports gods. That we're talking about. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Correct. Before that, would you go Junior Seau or do we have to go Tony Gwynn?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Marshall Faulk, if you want to talk about San Diego State.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Soak it in. Don't talk about the stuff that he's supposedly doing to ruffle feathers. San Diego chicken, speaking of that. Honestly, how often does it happen for San Diego? Not too damn often.
I mean, Fernando Tatis had Reggie Jackson coming to his defense.
Mr. October.
On Twitter yesterday.
Reginald Martinez Jackson.
Your guy.
Who, yes, straw that stirred the drink. Look at this. Here's the tweet. Fernando Tatis, keep playing hard and playing great. It's a pleasure to watch you play. Love your success and the Padres' rise to be a winner. Keep leading the way. It ain't easy to hit home runs. Keep bringing energy you have to the game. We need players like you, an all-star. Damn straight at Mr. October.
Best Twitter name ever.
My guy growing up, talking smack, hitting home runs, and also corkscrewing himself into the ground, swinging for the fences on 3-0 pitches that he missed. But, man, when he connected, it just electrified the city and his team. Okay, Tom Flores, a big moment for him. He's going to go in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I said it. And it's about time. Tony Stewart as well. He is a Hall of Famer. And you at 844-204-RICH. Hour 2 coming up. That is the most, in my mind, rewatchable movie there is.
Fugitive, does it hold up or what?
It does. We wanted, on behalf of fans of the film, thank you for catching the switching of the samples.
Oh, the liver samples?
Without you.
You are welcome.
RGU90.
You know?
Wow.
Harrison Ford, perhaps the most beat up movie star of all time.
Yeah,
He gets his.
Oh yeah, well he does his own stunts too. I mean that's his own damn fault.
Is that, did you do your own stunts?
I
in
did
the
all of
future?
my own stunts. I actually handled the liver samples with these fingers and ungloved.
Your character in 40-Year-Old Virgin Paula was originally written as a male character.
Yes, indeed, it was written for a man, and then with my eternal gratitude, Steve Carell's wife, Nancy Walls, who's a wonderful actress herself, said, because I knew them from Chicago, said, you have a lot of men in your film. Why don't you read Jane for the store manager? And so we improvised together, and we had a lot of fun. And Judd Apatow said, we'll cast her. So I'm very grateful to that whole crew of people for giving me that job.
Do you remember the song you sang in that?
Yes, I do.
In Spanish, can you?
Oh, absolutely. I'll just tell you right away that this is from an ALM Spanish dialogue, or dialgo, as you call it. And it's
Yes.
and it's a dialogue, and it goes like this. Cuando arreglo en mi cuarto, no encuentro nada. ¿Dónde va con tanta prisa al partido de fútbol? Thank you. And it means whenever I clean my room, I can't find anything. Where are you going with such haste to a football game? It's not romantic at all.
No, obviously. But the way it sounds.
Yeah, it's the way you deliver
That's it. Nothing upsets me more
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
than dumbass crap.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
Grand slam for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Jace Tingler, he's not supposed to swing at that pitch. Why?
We're not trying to run up the score or anything like that.
Earlier on the show, LA Times Lakers beat writer Tania Ganguli. Coming up, 2-time Super Bowl champion head coach Tom Flores. 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion and 2020 Hall of Fame inductee Tony Stewart. Plus, actor Jim Belushi. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Okay, everybody, it is hour number 2 of the Rich Eisen Show. We have an interesting conversation rolling here based on the NBA playoffs that tipped off over the last couple of days. Yesterday, first time that 2 8 seeds beat a 1 seed in game 1 of their respective series in either conference on the same day since 2003. And our poll question at Rich Eisen Show is which of the 1 seeds, Bucks, Lakers, both neither, should be the most panicked right now. Tania Ganguli of the Los Angeles Times, who covers the Lakers and who has been all over she is in the bubble and she's seen everything and she's watched everything, pegged the Lakers. And by the way, kudos to the Rich Eisen Show crew for the neither putting the famed Mad Magazine mascot Alfred E. Newman, whose famous phrase was "What me worry." So neither is I'm just connecting the dots for everybody out there in YouTube land who might not really know what Mad Magazine is. It's Sean Mitchell, everybody, the Rich Eisen Show staff.
Smart graphics.
Well done, Smitch. Well done. Well done. Tony Stewart, who is a Hall of Fame race car driver of note, will be joining us as the Indy 500's coming up this weekend. And then Jim Belushi, one of our favorites from television and movies from the last few years, will be joining us. But on the phone line is a gentleman who's, I've been saying, pounding this desk. We've been on the air for, 6 years, Chris, here?
Correct.
Okay. I have been fortunate to be an NFL Network employee. I think I was like employee number 3 being hired there back in the day. Since 2003, I've been at many, many Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and one should have happened, obviously, earlier this month. But it was supposed to be the one with the huge centennial 100th year, 20 members of the incoming class for 2020. And if obviously due to COVID-19, that has been postponed. And this gentleman didn't hear his name called again. And I keep saying over and over and over again, this guy deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he heard his name yesterday. Named as the finalist for the new category that's been created for at least the next 4 years to try and make sure that people like him hear their name called because they deserve to be enshrined, but sometimes get lost when you're throwing coaches in the same category as players and contributors, owners. Steve Sable, as you know, is a contributor. He's finally heard his name called. At any rate, this gentleman won 2 Super Bowls as a head coach for the Oakland Raiders. This was after John Madden, Pro Football Hall of Famer, did it for Al Davis, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Also, he backed up Len Dawson as a quarterback, Hall of Famer, for Hank Stram, Hall of Famer, in Super Bowl IV. A playing career of note and then a coaching career that is Hall of Fame worthy. Thrilled to have the 2021 finalist for enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in the coaching category, Tom Flores, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach? You there, Tom? All right, I think we've got some sort of misconnection right there. Hold on. So, you there, Tom?
Hello.
Yeah, there you are, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm just listening to you. I'm old enough to remember Alfred E. Newman.
And I know. I wish you had the probably. It was training you to have the "what me worry" over this very subject for all those years. But what was it like to get this phone call yesterday to say that you're a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame? And I should say that that you more often than not, usually more than just usually, this does lead to enshrinement and getting the check mark from the committee. What was this phone call like for you, Tom, yesterday?
Well, when it finally happened, it was a little emotional when it finally happened. When I talked to David Baker, because it doesn't really matter when, it matters if you get in. Although I've been a little impatient and I've been a little reluctant to get excited because of what's happened the last 2 or 3 years, but still, it looks like this is going to be it. And I got a little emotional and got tears in my eyes and just started thinking about the 60 years that I spent in professional football.
60 years, no question about it. Who did you think of? Anybody in particular, Tom?
No, I just go back to the first. It's interesting. I went back to the first day. I did an interview the other day, 1960, Santa Cruz, California, first day of the existence of the Oakland Raiders. We didn't even know where Oakland was at the time, and we were having training camp at a high school in Santa Cruz. And I said, well, this AFL, let's see what happens. Where is Oakland anyway? And we were playing in San Francisco and for 2 years, and we said, give it a shot, see what happens. I got the rest of my life to work doing something else. I had a teaching degree at the time, and here we are 61 years later, and wow, a lot of things have happened.
First time you met Al Davis was when, Tom Flores?
63 when he came to Oakland, and he came from the San Diego Chargers with Sid Gilman. And the very first time I met Al, it was I liked what he did. I mean, we were introduced, and 10 minutes later we were on the chalkboard talking football, passing game, and it was fun to talk to him about it because he was football, and more football. So he taught me a lot, and he really rescued the Raiders because we were in a downspin.
So he was on the grease board. It was a short passing game, right, Tom? Just short passes, just little short passes, quick.
No. He wanted to go down. Yeah, he wanted to go downtown, boys. He said, "Bull with all these little dinks. Let's go downtown."
Right. I bet. So, so then, getting into coaching. Was it Al who called you to get you into coaching? Was it Madden? Who actually hired you when you were an assistant for all those years under Madden for as the wide receiver coach? And man, the Hall of Famers that you coached at that position during that time. How did that get started for you?
Well,
Tom?
I really didn't want to retire from playing, but nobody really wanted me after I left Kansas City. So my first year coaching actually was with Buffalo as a short-time coach just for the season. And then I came back to California, my home up in the Bay Area, and Al and I always remained friendships, and he always – so I called him, and I said, I'm looking for something, and, I'd like to stay in football if I can. And so Al set up a job, an interview with John Madden. So I interviewed with John, and the two of them hired me and went to work right away, coaching the wide receivers and Hall of Fame quarterback Fred Volotnikoff, which I had thrown his first pass to when he was a rookie. So I played with Fred. Threw him his first pass, first drop, first touchdown, came back, coached him, became head coach, and cut him. How's that? I went the whole cycle with him.
I was about to say you run the gamut, Tom Flores. That's for sure.
Yeah,
what was it like being interviewed by John Madden for a position in that room in 1972?
Pretty casual. I mean, he was. He talked about this and that, and we got on the blackboard a little bit. But I think mostly he wanted to. I think he realized that going, with Al's advice, because I had played for Al, and I knew the system, I knew the offense, I knew the Raider way. So I think he just wanted to get to know me because I didn't know John that well at that point, and we ended up spending 8 years and very close, long days, long nights, and through a glorious Super Bowl year for him. And so when he retired, I was fortunate enough to still be there. and get the job. So it was. We had 19 straight years with only 2 coaches. That's pretty rare nowadays.
No question about it. And so, were you surprised when Madden decided to retire, Tom, and you got the job? Did that catch you by surprise? He's such a young man when he retired.
Yeah, I was surprised, but not totally, because I saw him in agony when he was suffering from an ulcer that he had, and other things. And he had it was time. 10 years, it was time for him to step away, and he stepped away big time.
He sure did. I know. The crazy thing is when he finally got into the hall, people were wondering, did he get in as a coach, a broadcaster, or a video game impresario? You know, I mean, he's been something else. Tom Flores here on the Rich Eisen Show. Super Bowls 15 and 18, the winner of those 2 Super Bowls, the head coach of the Raiders, 83 and 53 in the regular season, including 8 and 3 in the playoffs on top of all that, right here on the show. Winning that Super Bowl, did you realize the momentous moment it was for you and for people like you, Tom?
No, you don't think about it. When you're in the middle of the battle and you're in the middle of the playoffs and the excitement and the emotion up and down, the roller coaster ride, I call it, you don't think about anything until it's all over. Then when it's all over, you realize what you've done. You say, wow. That's all you can say is wow, because what do you do? Now what? Well, now what is to do it again? You have to do it again, because that's the life of a coach. You win, and then you try to win again, and then you try to win again. And I never dreamed that I'd ever be on that stage in my lifetime, when millions of people all over the world are watching you, and you're coaching this team from little old Oakland, and winning.
As the first head coach of Hispanic descent, first minority head coach to win a Super Bowl. You were also the first Hispanic starting quarterback in the National Football League. Do you think you've blazed a trail, Tom?
Well, I like to think it. I didn't think it at the time, and I didn't realize until later in life when I was later in my career, I should say, when I was traveling around certain areas, and people would come up of Hispanic background and said, we watched you coach the Super Bowl 15 or 18, and my dad cried. And I said, really? He said, yeah, he was so proud. And I didn't even know the person's dad, but he was so proud because of what you did. He cried. That was pretty special when something like that happens.
And you beat the Eagles in Super Bowl 15 and then Washington in Super Bowl 18. Were you the one who drew up the Marcus Allen pirouette? Tom, was that you?
Absolutely. Yeah, we practice that every day.
The spinorama and 74 yards later, touchdown?
You're going to go down there, you're going to turn around, spin around, come back this way, and then you're going to pick up Jim Plunkett as a blocker.
And speaking of Jim, Tom, it's time to get him in too, don't you think?
Yeah, Jim. He did. He wasn't in a lot of Pro Bowls, but he did win 2 Super Bowls. He did Rookie of the Year, and he made big plays in big games. So, hopefully at some point in his lifetime he'll share that experience too.
Well, I mean, not many first overall drafted quarterbacks wind up winning 2 Super Bowls, Tom. I mean, it's really kind of that simple. I mean, you could really just, when somebody comes in with such hoopla and such promise from one team, winds up with another, and then wins 2 Super Bowls. It's quite a story that Plunkett has put together. And one with you too.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't be happier for you, Tom. I really couldn't. I mean, seriously, it just even in the 12 minutes that we've talked, just walking through, we didn't even talk about you being a player for Hank Stram and backing up Len Dawson for a Super Bowl. I mean, your football life is something that is so unique. It deserves to be enshrined, and I couldn't be happier for you.
Well, Rich, I appreciate it. Thanks for your support. Thanks for all the kind words. It's really it's exciting, and I'm not going to get too excited yet because we have a year to go.
I know.
This pandemic thing has screwed everything up.
Well, I hope you're staying safe and staying healthy and staying well best you can, Tom.
You too.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Congrats again for that call you got from the Hall.
You bet. Thank you.
That's Tom Flores. Now, I know many of you might be sitting out there thinking, okay, you don't talk about Fight Club, you don't talk about no-hitters, you don't talk about perfect games. It is when you are named by the senior committee, it is as close to a shoe and a rubber stamp as possible. It has happened before where people are named and they don't get in. But this gentleman is 83 years old. Think about it, 60 years in football. It's not just also, and this is why I think Dick Vermeil should be in. It's not just what you did. Do you have the rings? Fouts is in, Marino's in. I mean, we can go on and on about players who didn't get the rings that are in.
That's true.
Okay. And you could say also, well, you look at Fouts' stats. They're not the same as, Breeze's or whatever. Different eras, what people meant for their teams, different teams. Don Coryell, and again, I know I'm speaking on the Mightier 1090 right now. It's not just about rings. It's about contribution to the game. And it's not just longevity either. Guy shows up in 1960 for the AFL, for the Raiders, plays for the Raiders, winds up playing on a Super Bowl. He is the first Hispanic starting quarterback. He is the first Hispanic head coach to win a Super Bowl. He does it twice. He does it for a Hall of Fame owner, and he takes over for a Hall of Fame coach. And honestly, how about that story? He threw Biletnikoff his first pass, his first touchdown. Then he coached him. Then he won with him. Then he cut him.
That's a football life.
You know what I mean?
That's football.
And to me, just take a look at Dick Vermeil's football life and the people that he's been around and the lives that he has touched. And Flores beat Vermeil in the Super Bowl he was the Philadelphia Eagles head coach that Flores beat in Super Bowl 15. And then Dick Vermeil won with the St. Louis Rams. And all in between what he did with the Chiefs and the players that he touched. You talked to Ron Jaworski for 2 seconds. Jaworski was the quarterback that Plunkett and Flores beat in that Super Bowl 15, honestly. So I'm thrilled. Now, I know the ring does place people in a certain category. But Tom Flores, with 2 Super Bowls, and the second Super Bowl he got against Super Bowl 18, you know who the coach he beat? Hall of Famer Joe Gibbs. It just is something that I'm thrilled. And in this day and age, for a human being to be alive, it's better to... Tom Flores is an 83-year-old man. I'm so thrilled he got that call. Let's take a break and talk to a Hall of Famer, Tony Stewart, NASCAR Hall of Famer, a co-owner, and a prideful Indianapolis 500 gentleman when we come back. Do we want to talk Drew Pearson later on in this hour?
Well, some shots were fired on our show text chain last night.
We could do that.
In the direction of T.J. Jefferson, Cowboy fan.
The aforementioned Sean Mitchell of the Rich Eisen Show staff, is he an Eagles fan? Is that why he took a shot at Drew Pearson and the Cowboys?
I feel like Smitch is probably a Charger fan.
I don't even know if...
I don't know what his
He's sitting at home,
he's an LA guy, so
helping produce this program.
He might be Rams.
Man,
I was just minding my own business.
You're minding your own business. We'll hit that a little bit deeper later on. I like the Peacock. Is that a mic cube?
No, it's
huge. What is it?
Post-it notes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I was about to say that is a big, huge mic cube.
Yeah.
Oh, so we have Peacock paraphernalia?
Yeah, we got some stuff.
Oh. Yeah, I got a hat on the desk.
Got mugs. We got hats.
When does the host who struck the deal get something?
Well, here's the deal.
Were you not here yesterday and passed on all of the swag that was getting going around?
No, the swag that I passed was the boxes of Rich Eisen Show gear that got sent here by the previous administration.
I think there's a hat or something left for you somewhere.
Did you pick it clean?
You were here.
Oh, I know I had a mug, but I didn't know there was a hat and Post-it notes. My kids would love Post-it notes.
Your kids would love Post-it notes?
They do.
What kind of a father are you if your gift that you bring home is a Post-it note?
What are you talking about?
That's worse than Tupperware.
What are you talking about?
Kids love boxes.
What do you mean?
Wait till you... Okay, what do you...
Your 12-year-old wants nothing to do with Post-it notes.
This idiot.
Are you kidding me?
This idiot. Is he still talking? Is he still talking?
I think he paused.
Smidge said Chargers and Rams. He doesn't like whiners.
Okay, all right. We'll dig into that a little bit more. But I don't understand. Wait till you.
I can guarantee with 100% certainty I will never bring Post-it notes home for my son.
Are you a Venmo, PayPal person? Do you know? You're probably one of those people who doesn't have a checkbook anymore.
He doesn't carry cash. A checkbook. So.
I do not have a checkbook.
Okay,
don't carry cash. Venmo all the way.
Because I was about to say that one day, wait till you go home to your checkbook, and then you open it up, and every single check has scribbles on it because your little kid just will scribble on anything. And anything by I mean anything, walls, tables, anything.
Why are you giving them things to write with?
Because it's not a wall and a table and a checkbook. It's here. You want to write me a note? As you know, my kids are legendary note writers.
Big note writing.
Exactly.
Which is so weird.
So giving my 6-year-old daughter a big peacock Post-it note stack, they'll be all over the house, which is better than...
Then you're going to have to clean them up.
It's better than scrubbing walls, bro.
Keep the
She's not writing on walls anymore, but like when you're 3 years
out
old...
of reach.
Wait till Cage, man. Right now, it's just really cute when he goes boom, boom, and you're feeding him his food. Wait till he gets out of that high chair, pal.
Hey, Rich, speaking of notes...
Hold on a minute.
We're
coming back.
Oh, okay.
We'll be back in a second right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Normally, the date for the Indy 500 would be, say, May 23rd. Not August 23rd.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But as we all know, these are wild times in which we live, unique times to say the least. And the Indianapolis 500, at 1 o'clock Eastern time, there will be a flag. It will drop, and we'll be racing. And it'll be on our friends on NBC Sunday at 1 Eastern time. And here to talk about this, as well as the Advanced Auto Parts CallingAllDiehards.com website where people can submit videos of telling everyone to start their engines. None other than the co-owner of Stewart Haas Racing, as well as a Hall of Famer, the pride of Indiana himself, Tony Stewart, here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Tony?
Man, I'm great, hanging in there and trying to live life a little different than what we're all used to, but at the same time, we're still excited that, we're all able to race and excited for the Indy 500 this weekend.
What was the first time you walked into the Brickyard? You remember that?
Oh, my God. As a kid, I'm not even sure what year it was, but I went with my father. I think the first time was to one of the qualifying days. And then I remember a separate year, my dad taking me to the race, and we sat on the front row of turns 3 and 4, which you can't see a lot from there, but everything that went by really fast. So had a great appreciation at a young age, for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indy 500.
I bet. So, growing up, I guess, who was your favorite racer there?
A.J. Foyt.
A.J. Foyt.
A.J. Foyt.
He was a badass, man. He was a badass, A.J. Foyt. I remember that. I remember watching Wild World of Sports growing up, right? And listening to, Jackie Stewart, right? And Chris Economaki on the mic and doing the racing. I lived for it. I loved it. Loved every second of it, Tony.
Yeah, I did too. I every year, even when I had the first opportunity in '96 to race at Indianapolis and remember all the pageantry and everything leading up to it. I was a wreck. I didn't even know how I was going to drive the car in the race. Like at the practice days, qualifying, all that was pretty sanitary and sane. And then you get to race day and you have all the pre-race pageantry and everything going on. And it was like, just please tell me to get in the car so I can drive now because it's driving me crazy. So I was glad when we finally got to that point.
I bet. Tell me about the day where you ran in the Brickyard and then took care of some NASCAR responsibilities. Where you actually took care of 2 races in one day. Walk me through that one, Tony.
Makes for a long day, I can tell you that.
I bet.
Especially when, the Indy 500's in Indiana, and then you fly down to Charlotte, North Carolina to run the Coca-Cola 600, which is NASCAR's longest race of the year. So, it's just, I did it twice. I did it in 99 the first year and then did it again in 2001. And not a guy that's a big workout guy, not a nutrition guy. Just was kind of old school like A.J. Foyt was, I guess, in that regard. But just literally I was so nervous about being dehydrated. I didn't eat enough solid food during the day, and it really got to me at the end of the 600. But it's a long day. I mean, the hardest part's probably running the Indy 500 for me because I was so used to being in the stock car every week at that point that, being in an Indy car just one time that year for the 500 was the hardest part of it. But you get done with that, you get on a helicopter, you fly to the Indy airport, you get on an airplane, you fly down to the Concord airport, get on another helicopter and land in the infield of the racetrack. So, it just makes for a very, very long day. And it took a lot of people that made the logistics happen. But the second time we did it, we had a trainer that went with us. We got clearance on the flight once we took off from Indianapolis. Once we got in the air, we were direct all the way to Concord, didn't have any junctions to make. So it was a 44-minute flight down there. But having a trainer and having a medical staff to make sure they got IV fluids in me during that flight and making sure that I had the right foods to eat to help me get through the next 600-mile race was a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, to do the Indy 500 and then fly to a totally different state and then, as you point out, the longest race for NASCAR. I mean, that is you gotta love racing. And I just drove up to see my mom up in the East Bay in Northern California. I just drove it straight. My back was killing me. I mean, literally about 3-4 hours in. But I'm a 50-year-old guy, though. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine what you did. It's impressive.
Well, it's and so that's a perfect example. I mean, everybody thinks it's just like driving a street car. The seats in the race cars, both the Indy car and the stock car, are form fit to you. So it's the most comfortable seat you're going to be in from that standpoint. But it's like anything else, any other sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. I mean, you have to be prepared for it and seasoned for it. And, being in a race car 3 days a week, every weekend, like I was running, you were in shape for it and ready for it. So, the biggest thing was just the nutrition side of it and making sure that in between the races we were getting rehydrated, which we were getting the advantage of IV fluids to help us with that and making sure we were eating the right foods that were going to help us with the energy we needed to run a 4-hour, 600-mile race in Charlotte after the 500 was, having that preparation and having those people in place to help us get ready for that, made that all possible.
Tony Stewart here on the Rich Eisen Show. Fortunate enough before the pandemic truly hit, inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame this past January, and none other than Jimmy Johnson doing the inducting. Where does Jimmy rank in terms of guys that you have raced against, Tony?
He's in the top 5 for sure. And it's not always just about what he does on the racetrack. It's all the stuff he does off the racetrack and the kind of person he is off the racetrack. I mean, I consider him a great friend and somebody that I admire. I mean, he whatever it is he chooses to do in his life, whether it's his personal life, whether it's his professional life, he gives 110% to it. And he works hard at every aspect of it. I mean, the things that he does, I mean, I'm lucky if I woke up in time to even have a meal before I would get up in the morning for practice. Jimmy, on the other hand, would have already rode a 60 to 100-mile bike ride, came back, probably jogged 10 miles, and then got up and got a shower, got breakfast, and got ready for practice. So, I mean, he's just one of those guys that You know, he's definitely getting the most out of life right now for sure.
Well, he's talked about flying with you once upon a time, eating hamburgers with you. So are you saying that was out of character for Jimmy to be chowing burgers like that on your jet?
Yeah, he to watch him eat a hamburger, it's like a foreign object to him. So to me, it's like, man, where's the closest McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King or something, or Jimmy John's? I'm hungry. So, to sit there and watch Jimmy eat a cheeseburger like that, he's like, this is all you have? I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, what more would you want? You know? That's the way our conversation.
No, I know.
Like, man, come hang out with me for a week. He goes, I get you straight down. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not getting away from my comfort foods.
Well, he also said that on that plane ride, you were feeding your dogs filet mignon while he was eating burgers. Is that a true story too, Tony?
Why that happened, but the dog got the steak and I got the cheeseburger or something. So, but I love my dogs too, so I'll do anything for my dogs.
I am with you on that front, sir. Our dog. I think my wife likes dogs more than people. I think personally, it's entirely possible.
Well, I've always just liked the saying that you could sit there and take your dog and take your girlfriend and put them in the trunk, and 2 hours later open the trunk and see which one's actually happy to see you. I mean, that tells the story right there.
Tony Stewart, everybody, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so this Indy 500, what are you most looking forward to? I mean, if you want to talk about unique, we're talking August. We're talking an empty Brickyard, So what are you expecting out of this one?
Well, I mean, it's definitely different for sure. I mean, this isn't the year that any of us in any professional sport have wanted to see on any standpoint. But, I think what I'm excited about, I'm super excited about what Advanced Auto Parts and Die Hard batteries are doing. I mean, it's a year where it just wasn't possible to have fans at the race. And, Advanced Auto Parts and Die Hard batteries figured out a way to try to get the fans engaged and make them a part of the pre-race ceremonies and the command to start your engines, and having the promotion of callingall-diehards.com. If you get on there and send in a video of your command for the drivers to start their engines, you have a chance to be that person that gets to start the starting field. And if you don't make that, then the next 50 people get $200 gift certificates for Die Hard batteries or any products that Advanced Auto Parts have at their stores. So it's a pretty cool promotion, and I think it's something where it shows how much Advanced Auto Parts are celebrating the 50 years that Die Hard batteries have been at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, starting the entire 33-car starting field and celebrating their 50 years of commitment to the Indianapolis 500. So to have those guys partner up and, to have the fans be able to be a part of the Indy 500, even though we can't be there in person, to have that promotion and have these people have an opportunity to participate, I think is about as good as you could possibly ask for. So really proud of Advance and Die Hard for participating in this and helping bring the experience back to the people.
Callingall-diehards.com through Advanced Auto Parts. Is there any tips you can give, Tony, as somebody who's heard this for a long time? You're a native from Indiana. This is a very serious business of telling someone to start their engines. Is there a word that you'd suggest somebody could accent? Is it start? Is it your engines? I mean, walk me through what you think would make a very good call on this front.
Well, I was telling Doug Bowles from Indianapolis Motor Speedway today. I said I was most grateful of was when I was a driver and heard that command was I was glad that the cars didn't have carburetors on them. I'm glad they were just fuel injected, because if they were carburetors, my foot was bouncing on the throttle pedal so hard from nerves and my legs shaking that it would have flooded the motor. So I'm glad they were fuel injected to where there wasn't any fuel going in there till.
Oh, we just lost Tony right there. Interesting that he says, just as we say, start your engines. Right in the middle of all that. Well, okay. Let's see if he'll call back. Lost him right there. If you want to pop on there, Christopher, see if he's still there. I think we lost him. I was even going to, you know what I mean? Like, how would you, is he still there? Okay, he's gone. How would you do it? because you can't do it like, like the old Chicago Bulls announcer, And now, gentlemen, start your. Could you do it like Buffer?
You do the Lakers guy. Start your engine.
Lawrence Tanter getting a mention an hour now on the show. See, now, I would be calling back right now. I'll be very honest. Now, Tony might have other things to do. He's got other, Kevin Harvick's leading the NASCAR circuit right now.
Be busy. Hold on, let me see if.
You know what I mean? I don't know. His phone could have run out of batteries. Did you run out of gas? He was running on fumes.
I mean, he was just talking about gas
Again,
situation.
callingallDiehards.com, Sunday at 1 Eastern time on NBC. Do you do that? Start your engines. Do you do like a whole Howard Stern? 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. I was just actually about to use some real estate with Hall of Famer Tony Stewart to ask him how real the movie Cars was. I literally was about to do that. How close to Lightning McQueen was his driving style? At any rate. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial right here on the show. Let's go. No, let's go right here to Mario in Lincoln, Nebraska. Let's take Mario's phone call right here. You there, Mario?
Hey, Rich. Welcome back, guys. Well, it's great to have you guys back on the air.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You guys had a great hiatus.
Thank you.
Brockman, my man,
Buddy.
You're literally in my crosshairs, bro.
Uh-oh.
Your comment about, what was it, Stickums?
Post-it notes. Post-it notes.
Yeah.
Post-it notes. Dude, I was you 12 years ago. It was when I was coming in to become a father, and I thought I knew what was going to happen and what to expect. Dude, kids are literally the Matrix, and you are Neo. You think you've got them figured out. You think you know what they're going to like, and I promise you, it's the complete opposite. I got a 13-year-old. I got a 10-year-old. One of them hates Post-it. The other one loves Post-it.
Loves it.
So, dude, what I would say is just accept that you have no idea what your kid is going to love, what they're going to hate.
Mario Brockman, again, he's still in the
honeymoon phase?
The boy arrived in February, late February. Okay, we're here in the middle of August. He has no idea that when he and Sarah are going to be, on total fumes, and this baby has totally taken over their lives, and neither of them care about each other anymore, and they're dead inside.
Oh, man.
Okay.
That's sad.
Right there, bro.
No, I'm sorry. No. Is this thing on? No. Is that at some point they're going to be on a long road trip or somewhere, and Cage is going to take hold of a plastic water bottle and spend a half an hour to an hour just having a great time, just having it squeeze it and make noises and blow wind in his face. And it's just going to be the simplest things. You'd never thought little water bottles just going to give me a little bit of a break, me and Sarah a little bit of a break. Chris has no idea the magic of a Post-it pad or things like that. He doesn't know. He doesn't. And you'd think after
enjoy the blissfulness of it, man.
Yeah.
Best advice I ever got as a about to be parent. We were in San Diego. My wife was pregnant. She was about 7 months pregnant. In front of us, we had a couple with twins, and in front of them, we had a couple that were sending their son to college. And that mother of the college-age son looked back to all of us, and she said, the best advice I can ever give you is it's only 18 Christmases. So take that advice, man. Enjoy every day with them, but don't try to figure them out, because just when you do, they're going to flip on you.
Thank you very much, Mario. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, thanks, buddy.
Well done.
Be well.
I've heard that phrase before, and
nice.
I say, Susie and I say it all the time. We don't say Christmases, we just say Hanukkah. That's all. That's different. Or 18 summers. You only have 18 summers with your kids. That's the sort of thing that you have, just, as being a kid.
Right.
You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take one of the Post-it notes of our new Peacock Post-it pad over there. Write down, "You know nothing, Chris Brockman." Stick it right on your desk. And it's evergreen.
Wait, am I the Jon Snow of this?
It's evergreen. You know nothing, Chris Brockman.
I know that I'm not going to bring home Post-it notes.
I'm taking that stack Unless, do we have another one? Is that the only Peacock posted
That's
stat?
it. But
that's it?
Like you always say, this is the Rich Eisen show, not the
I just
TJ
heard
Jefferson
Tom Bully
show.
say, tell him we have another one. We do have another one.
Oh, okay.
So you may keep that one?
I'll keep that, right? I was willing to give it up, though.
Well, the issue is with that P right there, is that if you're halfway through it, you can't even tell what it is anymore.
Well, the fact of the matter was I hadn't planned on using any of them because of that reason. This is more for show than
Thank you,
anything
sir.
else.
I didn't know that.
Paperweight.
All right. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. When we come back here on the Rich Eisen Show, we'll take some more of your phone calls, set you up for hour number 3. 5 days now until we stream for free on Peacock. Go to peacocktv.com or download the app to catch us and watch us every day. It's interesting. I'm looking at what you want to tease a little bit what you're doing on your news update? Oh, there's no way you're getting through all that.
No, well, there are a lot of items. There's a lot of NFL news kind of going on right now.
Yes, there are.
Alex Smith spoke today. Justin Fields was on Good Morning America. You've seen what he's been doing on Twitter. He's got a big petition going.
Did you see James Franklin talking today, too? Not happy.
What did he say?
Nobody told. Oh, we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin spoke today too and said that.
How about Lane? Hey, all Big Ten players should be allowed to transfer.
Yeah,
I should be able to take every single Big Ten.
To go.
All the Jim Harbaugh's players that are just sitting out there and chilling.
Yeah, come to Ole Miss.
Yeah, come to Ole Miss. I can guarantee you they're going to get the same education there, Lane.
Football-wise, they'll be a little more competitive now.
Who?
If you're a young player...
Did you just say going to Ole Miss, you're more competitive than Michigan?
Where would you rather go?
What?
More exposure against better competition playing at Ole Miss.
What? Are you seriously saying...
Not stuttering. Not Michigan football? Irrelevant. You want to play for an old fogey coach whose offense stinks, or you want to play for the young, innovative guy who gets players to the NFL, Lane Kiffin?
Does this Jamoke forget
who I got?
Does this Jamoke forget who I had calling in to wish him a happy birthday 2 Julys ago?
I remember.
And the ziggy that he put on that coach and the program? Yeah. Dude, your house is made of glass.
I don't claim to
be
rocks. That my football team is some juggernaut like Michigan. Like I'm with Big Cat. The delusion behind Michigan football is insane.
I don't believe there's a delusion. I don't believe I'm a deluded individual.
I believe that you don't believe there's
I am
delusion.
not deluded at all. If you want to go and hopefully compete for Big Ten titles and at some point be part of getting Michigan to the mountaintop, that's great. If you want to do the same thing for Ole Miss, where the speed limit is the same number as Archie Manning's number, if you want to do that, fine.
I'm saying if you're going to play against better competition in the SEC and you give more exposure.
Let's take a break.
All right.
844-204-RICH. You can tweet at Rich Eisen Show, our Instagram at Rich Eisen Show, our Facebook page. TJ Jefferson, our social media grandmaster, does a great job with all of them, and that's a way that you can communicate with all of us. We pretty much see it all. So you want to tweet with us, you want to do... I don't usually like the word at. I don't like tweeting at people.
No, with.
I'm not an at guy like that. So please, let's communicate. Let's talk. Unless you say stupid stuff like Chris Brockman just did in our commercial break.
Let the people decide.
So let's do that. Let's do that. I will do that. I will hand over the Rich Eisen Show Twitter address for this sort of thing. The question is how do we verbally write it down? What is the copy that is associated with the choice between Ole Miss and Michigan?
Well, here's the deal. Don't lead the witnesses because I phrased it a certain way.
Stop. I will do this the way that you don't think I will.
Okay.
Okay. So Lane Kiffin says, essentially, hey, the Big Ten and Pac-12 players that don't have a season should be allowed to transfer.
Yeah, they should have waivers.
They should have
play.
waivers. They should be able to go
conferences
play.
that are playing.
That's
this
right.
fall,
They should be absolutely able to go play, where conferences currently are ignoring the science that Big 12, that Big Ten and Pac-12 officials clearly heard. I fully believe at some point the SEC and the Big 12, and certainly the ACC, where North Carolina went online, completely reversed. Michigan State told its students they're online yesterday. Unfortunately, as Dr. Brian Hainline pointed out, the chief medical officer of the NCAA on Monday's show, there's not enough testing to test every single person on a campus in the same way that the NFL is doing it or what have you. But for the moment, SEC saying they're still considering this thing. They're going to go. So Lane Kiffin's like, hey, let everybody in the Big Ten. So do they return those players when the pandemic's over, or does he get to keep them?
No, he's mostly talking about guys who are probably going to go pro next year.
Oh, so people who are going to leave.
Yeah, people who want to enjoy their senior or play their senior year or are going to be going to the next level.
So then let them go. So they're just anybody who's getting ready to go.
Right. It's a one-year thing.
So it's a one-year thing. They should be able to play for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss.
They should be able to play anywhere where they're playing football this fall.
Okay.
Ole Miss is one of those places.
And so you said the following. You said the following.
I did.
What did you say? Repeat it. Because I don't want you to accuse me of putting words in your mouth. Go ahead.
I said, would you rather stay at Michigan and maybe play in the spring or go play in a place where you're going to play against better competition in the SEC and you're going to get more exposure at Ole Miss?
No, you did not. Now, see, I let you say this.
I did say both of those things.
You did not put it in the box in the construct of just this year in the pandemic.
Oh, do you want to play
said
for
in general,
an old what did I say? Hold on.
Writ large, no COVID in the world.
A coach whose offense is stuck in the mud, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, or play for a young, innovative coach who has coached professionals in a big-time conference for big-time college teams in Lane Kiffin. Who would you rather play for, Harbaugh or Lane Kiffin? And I think the answer is obvious.
Dude, you call me delusional, or Michigan's delusional. You say you're a big cat guy because Wisconsin's actually beaten Michigan.
I agree with him when he says that Michigan people are delusional in thinking that they have a chance to win the national championship.
You can sit here and say I'm a delusional Michigan guy. Okay, fine, you could say that, but I'm not delusional to the point where I'm not outraged by the results of the Michigan-Ohio State game over the last
it's coming each year
10 years. I'm not delusional to know that Michigan is not, as it has been when I went to school, up there and a shot at winning the national title, or up there with Clemson and Alabama is right now. I'm not sitting here and saying that my program is on that level. I'd love for it to be on that level. Every year I go in hoping that we are going to be on that level. And once we are on that level, we will be very difficult to stop. And I'm also not delusional enough to know that my coach, who I adore,
and that's fine
because
he's great.
He was my first quarterback when I went to school there.
Get it.
I get it. And he does win a hell of a lot of football games. I wish he won more, certainly against Ohio State. I'm not delusional enough to sit here and say, I know you and many others think he's a wackadoodle. Okay? Where he talks about not eating chicken because it's a nervous bird. And he takes his shirt off at practices, and recruiting visits. Right, he's a wackadoodle. He's weird.
Yeah, it's
wears
weird.
one pair of pants.
But he's never been fired on a tarmac. Okay?
Yeah,
you want to go wackadoodle
that's fair.
for wackadoodle? You want to go my wackadoodle against yours in this equation? I'll take mine.
Well, my wackadoodle is coached at a national championship.
I'll take mine over yours. I'll take my school over that one.
Okay, so what's the question?
I'll take my institution of higher learning over that one. You want to be a parent? You want to send Cage somewhere? You send him to Lane Kiffin
I
and Ole
want
Miss.
Cage to go play in the NFL.
Go for it.
So what's the
Oh, that's
question?
right. Michigan hasn't had some of the most players in the last 3 combines as any other school. They have. Okay.
Offensive players.
3 years
Offensive.
3 years ago. Offensive. You tell me.
What quarterback,
Excuse me.
if you're a quarterback, do you want to go play for
Holy
Michigan? Do you want to
crap.
stand in the I formation and hand the ball off and run play action?
Holy crap. Michigan's quarterback situation under Harbaugh has been disappointing. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be delusional here. But only offensive players. When you come in dressed like Cam Newton after wins this year, by the way, may I point out, Brockman is still wearing the Cam Newton neck scarf from the other day.
I just like
it's a regular piece of clothing. Like this is your
This is like my mask that I wear around
accoutrement.
town.
Fine. I'll accept it. Wackadoodle. Okay? But when you come in dressed like the guy on the right this year, sometimes it might be because Cam had a great game. I guarantee this, one time you come in dressed like Cam Newton because Chase Winovich had a great ball game. Who's the guy who keeps drafting Michigan defenders? Who's the guy who keeps believing in this? Who's that guy?
Yes, but you're moving the goalpost.
I'm not moving the goalpost.
I'm talking about offensive players. Offense. Lane Kiffin is an offensive coach. If you're the top quarterback in the nation, you're not going to play for Michigan.
I'm just over here seeing what schools have the most.
You're pleased to be out of this line of fire right now.
Yeah, this ain't got nothing to do with me.
We can make it about you.
This is about me.
No, about TJ.
Oh.
We could bring up Drew Pearson right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready for that.
Put it out there. Put it on Rich
What's
Eisen
the
show.
question? Who do you want to play for?
Write the question. No, your question is, what did you say? If you're a player and blah 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 blah, whatever you turned into like Charlie Brown's teacher to me after a while over there with your Michigan hate just to try and get my goat on purpose. Wah, 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 wah.
I mean,
That
did it
doesn't
work?
fit
I
on
got
Twitter.
you going.
He got you a little fired up.
Because you can't sit here and say what he says. That's why.
What do you mean?
You can't sit here and say,
I think I have the support of the wormhole.
if you are a player with National Football League desires and hopes and want to get the most out of your college experience, you go to Ole Miss over Michigan because Lane Kiffin knows how to put offensive players in the pros. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so Harbaugh only knows how to put offensive players in the pros like Andrew Luck, right? Or no, he can't be held responsible for Andrew, right? Because Andrew was so special coming in.
Let's ask Andrew
Right.
Luck about Jim Harbaugh.
I know. I'm sure I don't want to. I'm sure he's tough. I'm sure it was not his fun. I'm sure it was not fun.
I'm sure he would have rather played for Lane.
You think so?
Kind of.
Who's more of a wackadoodle? Let's put that. How about that for a Twitter question? You're a parent. You must send your child to one wackadoodle. Which one is it? Mine or yours?
For what it's worth
They
right
both
now.
tweet.
Can we also talk about how Lane kind of looks like Ben Roethlisberger
All
right
of a
now?
sudden.
Michigan leads Ole Miss in NFL players.
By a
36
wide margin.
Well, not wide. It's 36 to 26 current players, active players right now.
Please.
But Michigan has 369 players total.
How many did Michigan get by putting a little bit of scratch in a bag somewhere and paying?
I think
how many Michigan players got drafted on a night where somebody tweets out a text exchange about paying
I think
electric
you
bills?
don't want to know the
13%
answer to
of
that.
them?
I think you don't
I
want to
can.
know the answer.
I will absolutely ask that question. I'm not delusional on that front. I don't want to talk about the Fab Five, but I mean,
right. So how am I phrasing this poll?
How dare you? How dare you? How many coaches
Unhinged
have allowed you on
Eisen.
bus 5?
That's
How
a
many
great-
coaches
Again, I'm
let
not-
you eat at a training table?
I'm not talking
Now, I
smack
know
about
he was,
Harbaugh.
I know
I
Harbaugh
like
was being
him.
good to me and was
He's great.
was in extending that
It
same
was.
hospitality to a friend.
It was a great experience.
But you saw him up close. You saw how he handled the kids.
I
you
did.
saw how he did everything.
I've watched them play offense.
You mean the day where they went up 28-0 against the Griffin brothers?
Against Central Florida. Come on, man.
With 2 future pro football players on that defense. The year before, they go 13-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, miss. You got to be kidding me.
The last great Michigan quarterback is in Tampa.
What are you talking about? Brady was part of sending a whole bunch of players
The
into
last
the pros.
great Michigan quarterback was Tom Brady. Like, come on.
Okay. Chase Winovich, you're going to love him, and you're going to love all the Michigan guys.
Again, not
that
on
Belichick got.
offense. Not my point.
You are unhinged today. Like, and I'm loving it.
I'm not unhinged. I'm triggered.
Triggered? I
There's
hate
a difference.
That
There's
word
a
is so
difference. I'm
overused,
very
though.
hinged. I just told him I'm not delusional. I used the word wackadoodle. How many times?
Like 12?
That sounds unhinged. It's really triggered.
Well, whatever it is, he got you.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. Jim Belushi, hour number 3, and Chris Brockman's thoroughly ridiculous news update. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show. Mike Del Tufo is standing at a microphone that's about, I'd say, 20 feet away.
Yep.
Looking right at Mr. Wonderful of Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank. Go for it, Mike Del Tufo.
What happens if, like, something happens to me and 2,500 miles away, my family's there, and they don't know? I could be sitting in the apartment alone, dead for days. So I came up with an idea for an app called Just In Case that would be basically you download it, and you could check in with this app, and other people could see that, A, you're alive still. You could basically be tracked with it.
Just to get the whole story before I completely eviscerate you.
Go ahead.
How would you make money doing this?
A subscription per month.
People are going to pay per month.
99 cents per month. Very cheap.
If your mom calls you for 2 days and doesn't get an answer, she's probably going to call the super and say, go check on his corpse. Like, think about it. They don't need 99 cents a month for that.
But in theory, wouldn't you want, if it's something you don't have to do?
Mike,
other people can check
when you're
in.
dead, you're dead. Like, who cares?
How does the app know you're dead?
The app doesn't know you're dead.
You
what
have to
happens
tell
is
it you're not
the
dead.
app would tell
Not
you
dead yet.
that you're not checking in. Every time you unlock your phone, it would ping, and you put people on a list that know that if, like, your mother's in Florida, she could be sitting in the house. You know that at least she's checked in on her phone. If you're their kid, you don't have to talk to him on the phone. You don't have to call him. And if it's a kid, you know the kid.
If you think if you're worried
If
your
something's
mother's
happened-
dead, why don't you call her?
Well, let's say
mother, Mike.
People don't call their mother and father that live 2,500 miles away
Mom,
every day.
I just want to make
Every
sure you're
15
not
minutes.
dead. Like, are you kidding? You should call your mother every day.
No. I'm talking about, like, all day. You don't know.
Oh, you want to know the exact moment your
Yeah,
mother
you could
died.
check in. You know that they've actually. Exactly.
Kevin O'Leary.
Horrifically bad. Really bad. Really bad.
I tried.
Nothing upsets me more
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
than dumbass crap.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
Grand slam for Fernando Tatis Jr.
Jace Tingler, he's not supposed to swing at that pitch. Why?
We're not trying to run up the score or anything like that.
Earlier on the show, LA Times Lakers beat writer Tania Ganguli, 2-time Super Bowl champion head coach Tom Flores, 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion and 2020 Hall of Fame inductee Tony Stewart. Coming up, actor Jim Belushi. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Hour number 3 of this Wednesday Rich Eisen show. We have returned to action this week. We're very pleased about it. We've got more NBA playoff games to keep an eye on today, and also more NHL playoff games going on right now. And I'm wondering if Chris Brockman at the top of hour number 3 is, are you live betting anybody so far today, Chris? Anything that you saw? Anything
Well,
catch
you
your
know
eye?
what? Not yet. I'm gonna see how the games play.
Because it worked out so well for you yesterday, huh?
Well, I was one
It
for
did
2.
not.
I was 1 and 2 yesterday. One
did not.
1 for 3 yesterday.
It did not.
Not good.
Very good. We've already had quite a conversation on this program. Tania Ganguli of the Los Angeles Times was with the NBA in the bubble. She covers the Los Angeles Lakers in particular. The Lakers already down in a 1-game hole. Still, by the way, the last time they won a playoff game because they got swept in the 2012-2013 season was it's been 8 years since they've won a playoff game in the NBA.
I think that'll get fixed tomorrow.
And not Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley thinks it'll remain as such.
Gosh.
He's calling for a sweep.
The Blazers sweep?
And I just love watching Charles. I mean, that's how competitive he is. You know, you're either born with it or you're not.
Right.
Guys won all these Emmy Awards. Been there, done that. I'm sure the last thing he wants to do is antagonize LeBron James. Like, deep down, it's no offense. He just wants to be right.
Yeah.
And he was just into it and celebrating a Blazers win last night.
Blazers.
Do you want to update the poll question before you get to your news update, Christopher, over there? Your
Yeah,
poll question
sure.
We're talking about number 3.
Yeah, we're looking at the week one game one games. Both 1 seeds lost yesterday for the first time since I think 2003.
Right.
Bucks and Lakers go down. Which of them should be most panicked right now? Both or neither. Bucks or Lakers. Lakers lead the way. I assume that's where you're leaning to. 61%. 61%. 15% neither, though. 13% Bucks, 10% both.
I'd be a little nervous if I'm the Lakers. I definitely would be. Tom Flores and Tony Stewart, future Hall of Famer and current Hall of Famer, are on in hour number 2. Jim Belushi is going to be joining us shortly. His new show, premiering tonight at 10 Eastern on Discovery, is called Growing Belushi, where he adds to his resume of acting, singing, dancing. Now, legal cannabis farmer, Jim Belushi.
So that's what the show's about. I thought it was like growing up in a famous family.
It is not.
That's kind of what I thought.
Jim and his ragtag team of farmers have an opportunity to follow their passion in something they believe in. Interestingly enough, guest appearances include Dan Aykroyd, who I used to be mistaken for when I had a big head of lettuce back in the
Let me tell you what.
back in the old Last Dance days.
Mid-20s Eisen
Is
dead ringer for
dead ringer to Dan Aykroyd, I know.
Dead ringer for Aykroyd.
Now I'm a dead ringer for what?
Well,
don't answer. You know what? Where do things stand before we get to the news update? The poll question you posted.
Actually, I haven't posted.
Haven't
it
even
yet.
posted
I
it.
haven't posted
You just
yet.
took shots fired at my institution of higher learning that Lane Kiffin says all Big Ten and Pac-12 players who are going to go and they should use the last year of eligibility by going to whatever school they want. If it just happens to be Ole Miss, where you can take all of the Pac-12 and Big Ten stars and try and beat Alabama if they're so fortunate to even have a season in the southeast part of the United States, which is being ravaged by the virus. That, hey, come on in. And you said, that's not a great idea, or that's a great idea. You said, just in general, no COVID. COVID doesn't exist in the world anymore. You'd send your kid to Ole Miss instead of Michigan. because Michigan has been, and Ole Miss is definitely the future. Lane is Mr. Mr. Offense.
Lane's Mr. Offense.
Got it.
Lane will be there another 2 weeks.
All right, it's up at Rich Eisen Show.
What is the poll question?
If you're a top offensive college player, who would you rather play for? Jim Harbaugh, Lane Kiffin.
You know, someone here in the wormhole said they believe that Lane has a higher Uber rating than Jim, so that could change someone's mind.
Again, the reason why the YouTube, I guess, watchers in the chat area called the wormhole, they've nicknamed themselves the 454s because way back in the day when I used to do Ubers, before we're all quarantined.
It's been a while since I've been in it.
I wonder if my rating gone up without having taken a single car in 6 months. Is that possible?
Someone in the wormhole
Definitely
said I'm full of DAC right now.
Well, you might need to remind the people how we got to this whole 454 thing.
Well, no, again, my Uber rating is 454. I'm looking it up. I have not taken a car literally in a long time. And maybe the last driver who I, just turned the app off and I didn't tip, and they're popping up right now. Would you like to tip your driver from 7 months ago? Maybe that person got pissed off and my rating's worse. Nope, there it is, 454.
It all makes sense
there
now.
you have it.
You just need to cruise around town a few times. And
I'm still at a 488.
Okay, let's get to Chris Brockman's news update before we get to Jim Belushi right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
And now, with a report of the day's news from the world of sports and entertainment, someone who is not a journalist or newsman by any definition of the word whatsoever, it's Chris Brockman.
All right, everybody. Chris, what do you have over there?
All right, so Justin Fields, Ohio State quarterback, he's got this petition going online. Really wants to play college football this fall. He was on Good Morning America today with Michael Strahan, talking about it and what he hopes to come across.
I would say my main message that I would like to get across to the Big Ten commissioners is just that we want to play football, and that I feel like a lot of players feel more safer around the facility and around our protocols rather than just being on campus like a regular student. So, for example, our safety protocol is we get tested twice a week, and around the facility, everyone wears masks and stuff like that. So I think a lot of players feel more safe around the facility rather than just being out in the community without being tested twice a week.
Michigan State just told their kids, don't come. Send them home. In North Carolina, send them home. You know what I mean? Like, in the NFL, they're testing every day. It's not twice a week. Every day. Every day. What if somebody, look, kids are going to be kids. Somebody's not going to go to there's not going to be a party on the campus of Columbus, Ohio at all.
Right.
There's not going to be, right? Where everybody's not masked and indoors and whatever, and then they go back to
the team and then the
honestly
weight room.
Or the players could just swear we're not going to do that sort of stuff. And they're not going to be around anybody else from a campus. It just doesn't, it's very, very difficult to see how this can work in college football. And just because it works for Ohio State, does it work for other members of the Big Ten? That's just the science of it all. I totally understand why Justin Fields wants to play football. Ohio State probably has an excellent protocol. They probably have the facilities that are, the dreams are made of. Totally. But what about other schools that don't have it? That's a big problem. And so you're going to test the soccer team too? How many? What? You only play football but not the other sports? Is that what it is? I mean, it's not and clearly the Big Ten, I don't know what happened. James Franklin is upset today. He's not upset with the decision. He's upset with the timing of it. As you know, Harbaugh sent out a statement the day that the Big Ten said that they're not playing.
Right.
They clearly didn't talk to the coaches beforehand. They caught them flat-footed.
Yeah.
So they got to talk to the kids without answers, talk to the parents without answers. Coaches are control freaks. They want to know stuff. The last thing they want to do is be surprised by something. They clearly didn't, and it sounded
lack of communication.
It seems to be way off.
Yeah, it's obvious.
And, Brian Hainline, again, the chief medical officer of the NCAA, was on the show on Monday and railed on the testing strategy that this country has nationally, saying that we're not even close to what we need to have sports on the collegiate level. And then I pointed out to him, well, you know, in the same way that there is proper criticism, at least in my mind, for the national testing strategy in the United States, that there is no, from our government, any national strategy whatsoever. It's all 50 states. You go and figure out what you need to do for yourselves. And we're not going to give you any sort of sense of protocols. And even if we do, the person who's top in charge will say something completely different. In the same way that Dr. Hainline was criticizing that, I pointed out, well, how do you respond to the fact that you're telling all conferences, figure it out for yourself? And you're the NCAA, and he's like, well, we came up with the protocols, and it's up to every other conference whether you're going to, meet that standard or not. And right now, 3 of the Power 5 is saying we're waiting and seeing. 2 of the Power 5 came out and say we've seen enough. And the 2 of the Power 5 that we've seen enough. I haven't heard the Pac-12 coaches. We're having David Shaw on next week. I haven't heard many of the Pac-12 coaches say, well, hold on a second, in the same way that Big Ten coaches have, or at least one of the top players. Maybe in the Lane Kiffin world, Justin Fields should go back to Georgia. Send him back.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if Ohio State's not playing this year, he's not. I think he's played his last down.
I would think
right?
so.
And because didn't Nick Saban say that if there's a spring season, it would be like a JV?
Yeah, because a lot of these guys won't
play. Of course
play.
not. Even if the NFL pushes the combine and the draft to April and May,
right,
and you're playing in January,
yeah, weird times. All right, some NFL stuff. Alex Smith, who's recently just got put on the active PUP list. He's back with the Washington football team.
He's working out in pads,
In
man.
pads, working out. So he spoke today. A bunch of quotes here saying, today was the best day I felt out there. Hard to quantify when he's going to know he's going to be ready for full team drills, but he'll know when he knows. There were times, Alex Smith said, that it was hard for him to even look at his leg. Plenty of doubts during this whole process.
Amazing.
I'd be lying if I didn't have why me moments. He just wants to see what he can do out there, knock down those mental walls. Said it took a long time before he could even look at his leg. Like I said, determined not to let fear dictate any of his decision-making on the field.
Amazing. And Dwayne Haskins,
So cool.
Dwayne Haskins sitting in a room with Alex Smith is going to be immeasurable.
Invaluable.
Oh, my God. And maybe Alex Smith, do you think he starts for the Washington football team?
I can't imagine a situation where he would start.
I don't know.
But
that would be one of the most amazing football stories of all time.
Yeah.
And he's effective as well.
I mean, it's a great player.
What else?
I think Alex Smith is a good player, man.
What else do you have?
Okay, some Jets news, Rich. Adam Gase said that Sam Darnold is, quote, playing faster this summer, which is what he expected. Gase also pleased with the good chemistry Darnold has developed with Brickyard Perriman.
Look out, man. Look out. Here he comes.
There you go. There you go.
But in all seriousness here, this is when we're beginning to enter the zone of staring at that COVID-19 list, right? The NFL. Like, this is where guys are now out there and padded practices. Guys are going home, coming back. I mean, they're being tested. And this is where it's going to really, the rubber is going to start meeting the road here. I know there's no games yet.
There won't be any games until week 1.
No, that is correct.
Yeah.
And as Belichick pointed out, this is the way colleges do it.
Okay.
What do you think about, speaking of Bill, you got
Speaking of
that
Bill,
on your list
I got
right here?
this. Speaking of Bill, he was asked this morning before practice if there might be a benefit to having 2 quarterbacks with varied skill sets. Bill said it might. I always say I'll do what's best for the team, what gives us the best chance to win, whatever that is. I would definitely consider it. Run an unbalanced line, double unbalanced, 23, whatever it is. If it helps us win, I would consider anything.
What do you think of platooning quarterbacks?
I think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible.
Horrible.
Why do you know what? If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any.
You got 2, you got 3, you got 0.
I just think Bill's throwing it out there. Just give Brian Flores something to think about before week 1.
Cam Newton package?
No, a Brian Hoyer package. What else do you think he's meaning? A Brian Lewerke package.
Yeah.
By the way,
Never even
look
heard
at
of
the
that guy.
salad, Bill. He's the Michigan State quarterback.
Is that James Palmer or Tom Pelissaro?
Look at that
All those
lid,
guys
man.
look the
Look
same.
at the pomade on that
Beautiful
gent.
hair. Beautiful
But
hair.
dude, Cam Newton's going to get out there and it'll all be good. And then, or if it's a platoon, does that mean you wear a Stidham outfit one week and then?
So when I look like an insurance salesman one week, and then the next week I look like Cam?
You just got to get a Stid jersey.
All right, I'll work on it.
Because invariably, I mean, Cam hasn't finished a full season in 3 years.
That's a fact.
So it's entirely possible you'll see some Stid action.
We'll see. I think Stid's going to end up being good, but I would start Cam immediately. Why'd you get the guy?
You will. I don't know what a 2. I mean,
You know what I mean?
But Bill is going to just think outside the
You're
box.
going to run a
If there's-
wildcat with Cam Newton?
If there's anybody who's going to figure out something that nobody knows how to figure out, it's him. Does that
All right.
make sense to you?
It does.
Thank you.
All right, last one real quick. We talked yesterday with Jake Johnson and Kyle Brandt about Mitch Trubisky. Well, according to Cordero Patterson, who's with the Bears, this move has worked out to make Trubisky better entering this year.
Please.
He actually looks like a whole new player, Patterson said yesterday. I see it in his eyes and everything. He's got that fire in him. That's what we need out of our quarterback, that competition that brings out the best in everybody.
That's it, man. He's killing it on 7-on-7s.
He can see it in his eyes, guys. Come on.
You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his eyes. Speaking of which, let's talk cannabis. Jim Belushi, Discovery's Growing Belushi. When we come back right here on the Rich Eisen Show, don't go anywhere. The great Jim Belushi when we return. So we got back about 3 minutes time. So has anybody heard from Mike how his closing of his boat's going?
We have not. Should we lob him the line
Is
real
that bad?
quick?
Is that bad? That's got to look. I mean, I've closed on houses before.
Never a boat.
Let's text him.
But the thing is that when you close on a house, you don't try the house out. Like, you know, like, you don't,
like live in it for a
go
week.
you know, go walking in there and flushing toilets
But why not?
Or using it, or, you know, if it's not furnished, you know, you're not sleeping in the bedroom.
But why wouldn't you do that?
No, you inspect the house.
Yeah.
But on the day of the closing, you don't, you know, just walk through it.
I don't know,
He's
Rich.
saying on closing this boat, he's out on the water with a member of.
Yeah.
You know what's
That's
going on, Jason? Is
well,
that
he says he's just out there. They take the boat out. They
So he's on the
inspect it,
water
they
right
drive
now.
it,
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
I just texted him, so
There
we'll
is
see
a
what comes
process.
back.
I had a phone call with him the other day. It was
Right.
about 15 minutes of him explaining to me the process.
But that you just described every phone call with Mike Del
Yeah,
Tufo.
very good point there. Very good point.
So,
I mean,
Not for nothing.
do we get Mike calling in at the end of the show to give us an update on the closing?
we can.
of
I don't know if
Orca?
he's got service out on the high seas.
He's called me from
hey,
the
Rich.
water before. So
Yes.
he's
I have
probably
a
got
question. You know, we were
service.
speaking about writing notes earlier, and
Yes.
since we were gone for that 7 weeks, I was wondering how our favorite note writer, Miss Taylor Mattingly Eisen, I was wondering how many letters she may have written, because having everyone at the house together, I'm sure somebody got on her nerves and she had to write a note about it.
Interesting. She wrote a whole 2-page.
2-page?
Well, it wasn't a note to me or Susie. She wrote about her favorite part of her, which is her mouth.
Okay.
Favorite part of her is her mouth, because she can say things and she can eat her favorite Toroni pizza with it, and it's great. Yeah, so I'll bring that into you.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
We always like to know what she's up
That's
to.
what she did.
By the way, our poll question is a battle right now.
I'm sure it's a battle.
51-49 right now.
I don't even want to know.
Just telling
right
you.
now.
I'm just telling you what the percentage is.
So will you just let me know when Del Tufo's
Yeah, I
here?
texted him. So
How much longer till we're back so Jim Belushi will know? We got about another minute to go here? Okay. So then real quick, Jason, Del Tufo has crowed about the setup he has over there.
Yep.
How it's easier, more streamlined for him.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I will give him credit though. He is very smooth at what he does for being able to multitask like he does and
hardly
be
paying
here and
attention.
here
He
and
can't
do
hear
his
you
stuff.
right now. He's on a
I'm
boat where
I'm
no
aware.
one can hear you scream where he is right
I'm
now.
aware. You got it. He's smooth at it.
Please don't let
Are you
him know
just
that
saying
you
that
said
because there's a chance he'll go back and listen to the podcast version
No.
you may not ever work again? Is that why you're doing
No.
that? Okay.
None of that.
All right. Just
Okay.
making sure.
No,
He's-
maybe we
he's
can all
smooth.
just
He's
compliment
smooth.
each other a little bit more. Maybe we should just take this as an example and be better people for
That
it.
doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah, still rag on him. It's more fun that way.
It's okay. I like Michigan. It's okay. Rich.
No,
I like
whatever.
Michigan.
All right, we're back in a second with Jim Belushi.
What's the score?
Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. It premieres tonight on Discovery. At 10 Eastern Time. We've had this gentleman on before, way back in the day. I met him when he was on NFL Network picking games. This was a long time ago when he was on the great show, According to Jim. And he's ready for his next stage in life, which is building a cannabis business from scratch in Southern Oregon, growing Belushi's star. Jim Belushi here on the show. How you been, Jim?
Oh, man, nice to be back with you. How are you?
I'm doing better for talking to you. Are you calling from Southern Oregon right now? Is that where you are?
No, actually, I'm in Martha's Vineyard, isolated on a little island.
Amazing.
Do you have? Do you have?
The island is social distanced from the country.
Yes, it is. I would agree. So, wow. So you are far from Southern Oregon right now. Do you have your own cannabis business working there in Martha's Vineyard as well, Jim?
No, not at all.
Okay.
This is the time I can take a little bit of a break because our harvest begins September 10th. So I'll be going back in a week, getting ready to cut it down, to trim it, to cure it, to trim it, and sell it. And I'm just like a boots on the ground guy. I am a farmer. I am not. It was so much easier acting, doing other people's lines, opposed to growing other people's strains. Let me tell you. I am a farmer. I am Bill Murray and Elmer Fudd wrapped in one, chasing gophers, squirrels, aphids, russet mites, grass. I see a grasshopper and I freak out. I mean,
we're looking at a photograph of you, what looks like a hedge, like it's about 10 feet tall. Are you saying that that's cannabis, what we're looking at, that you're walking through right now? Yes. Beautiful, beautiful female plants, because they're the ones that have the THC and the terpene values. So, I guess the first question is why, Jim? Why did you decide to do this and then make a TV show out of it?
Well, listen. First of all, you bring everything you've ever learned up to every job you do, right? I mean, so I got this farm. I had a little property on the river, and then the farm came up behind me. It was 80 acres. And I bought the farm, and I didn't know what to grow. And that year it was legal, 2015, in Oregon. I said, well, I guess it's the new agriculture. This is like the new trend, so let's do it. And boy, did I enter into a world I knew nothing about. And so I filmed it. So as my education goes, so does the audience. So we've learned a lot about the business. It's not a stoner show.
Right.
It's a show about farming, about the quality. I know everything. I know that the ground has got to be 64 degrees temperature in order for the micronutrients to go into the roots and in order for the THC to rise up to the water leaves. I know, 45% of perlite. I know it all. Now,
damn. So, is there a manual for this, Jim? Is there how do you? How'd you learn it?
There's a manual as far as agriculture is concerned. There's a lot of similarities as far as fertilization and natural pesticides. But no, all the criminals, that were criminals for years that grew pot are now legit, and they're filling these farms and teaching us.
Jim Belushi, Growing Belushi, premiering tonight at 10 Eastern Time on Discovery, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So appearances include...
funny.
I was about to say funny. I mean, because you've got some funny people, including yourself, involved here. Dan Aykroyd is going to make an appearance on this.
Danny is in it. Judy is in it. My sister-in-law, John's widow. There's a whole Blues Brothers section in there. We perform on a little stage on my property, have a big harvest party. We go to Columbia, my cousin Chris and I went down to Columbia to speak, and I went, well, let's grab some cameras. I was there for 9 days improvising. 2 of the episodes, really one of the episodes is all Columbia stuff that happened, man. I mean, there was 150,000 people of smoke out. We were in the middle of. There was a gunshot. There was a little bit of a stampede. I mean, we got all this on camera, all real time. It's quite exotic. It's educational, and it's funny. And it's called Growing Belushi, not Growing Pot, because I kind of grow along with it as a person in my own personal kind of traumas that I've experienced in my life.
Right.
And I pitched it to this great guy, Michael Rapino, who runs Live Nation.
Sure.
I pitched the idea to him, and what a visionary this guy's been, man. He's one of the smartest people in the business. Anyway, I pitched it to him, and in 8 minutes, he stood up, shook my hand. He says, how much money you need? We'll finance it.
Hey.
So it was great. And then Discovery picked it up. We shot it. Discovery picked it up, and we're on tonight.
Off you go. 10 Eastern tonight. When was the first time you met Dan Aykroyd, Jim? Remember?
I remember. I do remember. I was visiting my brother John in New York. I had hitchhiked from college. I was in his apartment, and Danny Aykroyd came in. They had not done Saturday Night Live yet. They'd just been cast. Gilda Radner came in, and she was the most stunning, beautiful person I'd ever seen. I couldn't stop staring at her. At one point, she turned to me and went, who is this guy? I was like, oh, my God, I'm really staring too hard. And Danny Aykroyd and John were joking about this show's going to be so great. We're going to make the Hollywood Squares, man, the Squares, the Squares. That's when I met Danny a long time ago, 74 maybe.
No kidding. That's how long it has been. No doubt about that. The director of St. Elmo's Fire passed away recently, and I know that you were part of, back in the day, so many films from that era. Do you have any sort of memories, sort of any memories about last night or anything that you'd love to, revisit with me right now? What was it like on the set of About last night, Jim?
Well, I'll tell you, it was made from a play that I did in Chicago, and it was a David Mamet play, Sexual Perversity in Chicago, and then it became a movie. I'll tell you what was an interesting story about it was we got the script written, and we took it to Don Simpson at Paramount, who would come and visit me in Chicago, and said this should be a movie. And I got a call from my brother John, who said, Don Simpson just offered this to me and Danny. And I said, John, don't do it. This is my role. I developed it on stage. It's my character. He goes, Jimmy, you don't know Hollywood. They're heat-seeking missiles. Danny and I are hot right now. They give everything to us. This is a good script. I want to do it. I said, John, I can't do Marlon Brando. I can't hold a sword. I can't eat a cheeseburger. I can't do anything. You eat it all up. This is mine. Leave it alone. No, Jimmy, if I don't do it, they're going to give it to Billy Murray. And wouldn't you rather have someone in your family do it?
Yeah.
Well, you're right. And I said, John, just don't do it.
Right.
And he goes, you don't understand Hollywood. And he hung up. Well, apparently he passed, and apparently Billy Murray passed. I think John had something to do with that. It got into turnaround, and 6 years later we made it, and it changed my career.
It's true.
Rob Lowe made that happen.
Yeah, so Rob made it happen, what, in terms of the movie? and
Yeah, you need a bankable name, and once Rob said he would do it, the studio financed it, and it was a go picture, and then I got I had auditioned for it, believe it or not, with Ed Zwick, but I got it.
You got it, and it's still
Changed my career.
It still stands up. I mean, it's still a story that even though obviously the film is well over 30 years, it still works, Jim.
Well, it's an authentic relationship movie. You know, it's about guys who have trouble committing. It's about girls looking for love. I mean, and it's done in a very real, authentic way. Ed Zwick really directed it well, I gotta say.
Right. Jim Belushi here. A couple more minutes left with Jim here on the Rich Eisen Show. Trading Places, Jim. How'd you get involved in that one?
I was sitting in my dad's ranch down in the mountains outside of San Diego, kind of feeling low. And I got a call from John Landis. He said, "I got a little part for you. Want to do it?" I was in San Diego on a plane in New York. So it was sweet.
And is that sort of like an Animal House connection through your brother for Landis to call you up, or what?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Danny was in it, you know. Eddie Murphy was in it. I was doing Saturday Night Live with Eddie at the time of filming.
Right.
Maybe, I hope it had something to do with family. You know, family is, you know, the number one fear in life is death, and the number two fear in life is the collapse of family. And, you know, you want to hold families together when there's a death or of a sibling or a parent or a severe illness in the family or divorce. You know, those things collapse families, and you get traumatized. And that's why I think cannabis is really a great alternative medicine to Ambien and Xanax or hard liquor. I mean, I have a drink once in a while, but you know what alcoholism can do to a family. And so cannabis is really, you know, it's a pathway for veterans to get off opiates, for overprescribed patients, for Alzheimer's, seizures, sleeplessness, hopelessness, depression, pain. It also enhances creativity. It enhances taste of food, music, the touch of your lover's skin. I mean, it's really great. It's euphoric and makes you more compassionate. It's nonviolent. You know, Rich, I was a bouncer, and I never broke up a fight between two potheads. Got in the middle of a fight between two potheads over who's going to have the last part of the Cheetos bag.
That's right.
But
oh my gosh! And again, growing Belushi's tonight. Before I let you go, tell me about your philanthropic works that you're doing. Also, the organizations that are centered around this industry, including the Last Prisoner Project. What's that about, Jim?
Well, Steve DeAngelo out of Oakland, he's like the godfather of cannabis. He's been an advocate for 15, 16 years. He's a beautiful man, very, very committed. We're part of a group called Last Prisoners Project. There are over 40,000 people incarcerated in the United States alone for cannabis, nonviolent crime. And while thousands of us smoke it legally or sell it and profit from it, there's people in jail still. There's a guy, Michael Thompson, in Michigan, who was charged with 3 pounds of cannabis. He had 40 to 60 year sentence. He's been in jail for 24 years. He's 65, and now he's got COVID and he's in the hospital. Cannabis should not be a death sentence. So, you know, and communities of color have always been disproportionately, you know, harassed with these types of crimes, you know, and so we're really working hard to get these guys out, and we're making progress. The state's attorney in Michigan is looking at the Michael Thompson situation right now.
Well, it's called The Last Prisoner Project, one of the many things you can follow on Jim Belushi's Twitter account at Jim Belushi, and check out, again, Growing Belushi premiering tonight at 10 Eastern Time on Discovery. Jim, it's always a fun chat whenever you call in. I hope to do this again real soon. Enjoy the vineyard and then the harvest. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Thank you, Rich. I really appreciate your support, man. You've always been so good to me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. Right back at you. That's Jim Belushi, and he's also on Instagram at Jim_Belushi, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. When was the last time you saw About Last Night?
Ooh.
Well, it's so good.
It's been a while.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
Demi Moore is just a great actress and just beautiful,
She's
beautiful
delightful.
look at. My God, it was
She's very delightful.
Oh my gosh, and he does steal it. He does steal it, Jim Belushi.
Rich,
you know what? He wasn't Trading Places too, right?
He was.
Yeah.
He was the
gorilla.
The gorilla. He was the party guy on the train at the very end.
Train, yeah.
Rich, do you?
With Al Franken.
Rich, do you know my connection with Demi Moore?
You know what?
This guy.
No, that's something that we should take a break and come back. That's what we call. I would definitely stick through the break for something like that. I did not know this, but then again, you have many layers over there. That's TJ Jefferson, our social media grandmaster, who will be curating our YouTube stream during this commercial break. And we'll be back to set up the rest of the week. Take your phone calls, 84204-RICH, 844-204-RICH, and more in a moment. So let's put a pin in that. Have we heard from Mike Del Tufo? Have we heard?
I have not. Nothing from Mike yet. Nothing from Mike.
He's so locked in, huh?
He's locked in.
He's sailing.
He's sailing. He's doing something.
Hang on a second.
Listen to Christopher Cross.
He's doing
out in the Pacific, somewhere near Long Beach.
I'll just write back, you good. That's it.
You just hit Mike, you good?
That's it.
Okay.
You good?
All right. Raptors and Nets tied at 47 late second quarter.
Okay, what else in hockey? I think Tampa Bay just lit the lamp to go up 5-4. That's what it looks like.
Orioles up 2-1 on the Blue Jays. Hey, the Red Sox are losing. Shocking. 2-0.
Yeah. I'm seeing Phil making the rounds.
Columbus and Tampa 4-4 late third.
Oh, they just tied it, huh? Tortorella, man. That guy.
Man, oh man.
That guy. Torts. Okay.
Poll action? You want to know?
I don't want to know.
Do you want to know?
Yet. Let's wait till
I'll just get... Okay.
radio audience returns. Okay?
Do you want to hit the RT real quick?
No, because I don't want to advocate for this thing.
Well, you're not advocating. Don't vote. Just present without comment. Because we're neck and neck. Neck and neck.
Well, I get to vote on my own poll question.
No, you don't get to vote.
What do you mean I don't get to vote?
We're abstain from.
I vote on every poll question.
I didn't vote.
I vote on every poll question. Do you have the drop of what the name of the show is, Jason? I don't know if that's his. What does Del Tufo have it labeled? His labeling is very odd,
yeah,
right?
I'm trying to find it in here. And especially if it's on this computer.
It's gone,
Nothing's
right?
in here right now.
Well, I'll tell you the name of the show. It's called The Rich Eisen Show. So I have just voted for Jim Harbaugh.
Okay.
What's the matter with these people? What is the matter with these people?
What do you mean? It's close. You just saw the percentage. It's close.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Thank you. What's the matter with people? Lane Kiffin. My wackadoodle versus your wackadoodle would be a great follow-up. Who's a bigger wackadoodle, Lane or Jim?
It's close.
Please.
It's close. I think Jim runs away with that.
I can't believe you triggered me like that.
I know, I got
shouldn't
you.
walk into things like that.
You had him riled up.
Very good. Back in a moment. Five days until our show starts streaming for free on Peacock, and it was announced today the channel is a standalone channel on Peacock. Again, Peacock streaming service, which you can visit at peacocktv.com. Download the app. It's free. We stream for free. And the way it works, unlike any other streaming service, Peacock has a live channel function. And there's going to be a new channel there. I mean, you can see what's trending. You can obviously get television shows and movies. And you can also visit our show in the form of the sports page. You'll see that there's a Rich Eisen Show tile, if you will. You push on it, you can see all of our videos. But live between 12 and 3,
right now.
You go on Peacock and you will see, starting Monday, a standalone channel. Right now there's NBC News Now, there's a Today Show channel, there's many other channels that are on it.
Yeah.
There's going to be one now called, it was announced today, NBC Sports on Peacock. And it'll start with Florio's show, Pro Football Talk, leading into Dan Patrick and the Dan Patrick Show at the Danettes. Stop me if you've heard this one before. We follow Dan Patrick,
all right,
as we did for 5 years on Audience.
That's right.
Here on the campus of AT&T, formerly known as the campus of DirecTV. And Michael Holley and Michael Smith will do a television show after ours.
Sweet.
And it'll be hours upon hours of live sports talk, entertainment. You'll still be able to call in, 844-204-RICH. You'll still be able to have an awful, terrible poll question placed in front of you by Chris Brockman.
Wow.
Yeah. But next week, it's PFT Live with Florio, the Dan Patrick Show, then us. Starting in September, Brother from Another, which is Michael Holley and Michael Smith. And then PFT PM. How about that?
Oh.
How about that? So that's all day long, every single day. It is new.
Awesome.
It is newfangled. I am telling you the way it works. It's so simple. And it's free. You get it on any mobile device.
Very
You can
free.
get it on our NBC Sports app too. You can also get it on your desktop. So many people are watching from their desktop. Our YouTube stream.
Yeah, peacocktv.com.
Our YouTube page will still be available for everyone to follow the show. Clips will be on there after our show every single day. YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show. That'll still be there. You can also access it shortly through the NBC Sports YouTube page as well. We're so excited about it. We hope you are too. And NBCSN, we're on tomorrow. And then starting next week, we are on all the way through to the first week of October. You'll still be able to catch us on NBCSN at the same time. But starting October 5th, it's Peacock only, guys. So
Boom, boom, boom.
get ready. Have I walked us through it? There you have it. So there you go.
That was a great walk and talk.
Very good. And we're as proud as a Peacock as well.
That's a good lineup of shows, Rich.
Look, we're very, I
like it.
It was Dan Patrick, then us for 5 straight years.
Yeah.
Worked out. Worked for everybody, I'd like to say.
Sure did.
What's your, is Demi Moore the Ashton Kutcher connection? Is that the 1 degree of
That's it.
TJ Jefferson?
Well, actually, and to bring up another degree, we talked about Brother from Another, the show that's coming out.
Yes.
You realize Michael Holley and I, we went to college together and we were roommates for a short period of time. So we did
Also, he's leaving out a huge part of the Demi Moore thing.
Well, I'll get to that.
Were you getting to? I thought, he asked you about it, then you jumped to Michael Holley.
I know exactly.
I'm trying to pump.
You got it linear.
Can I pump the
Keep it going.
Peacock first? That's what. Pause. Can I just pump up the Peacock a little
Okay.
and say that Brother from Another? We have a connection there. There's synergy.
Right.
You
Yes.
know.
Okay.
Michael and I and.
I mean,
please tell me about
love
Demi
Michael
Moore.
Holley, but we want to hear about Demi Moore.
You already gave it up. Like, we used to live together. We used to be roommates.
Now, I knew you knew Ashton Kutcher and you're friends with him and, you're tight with him, even though that has not borne any fruit with him appearing on this program at this point
Is that
in time.
true?
What do you mean? He hasn't even called in.
Well, all right. We'll have to get
No,
on
I know
that.
he's dropped off the grid, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, he used to be Mr. Twitter A+K. He used to have
First to a million.
He was first to a million, right?
Yeah.
So
Beat
he's dropped
CNN.
off that grid. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
So he might not have anything he wants to quote unquote promote, but he loves football and he loves fantasy football. And
does.
Okay. So you lived with him though? I did not know you were.
Yeah, we used to, he and I were roommates from 2001 to 2005.
Okay.
We lived together. We were kind of like entourage. We were Vinny and Turtle minus, Ian Drama.
So if you don't mind me asking, and this is not meant to sound creepy at all.
Fair. Thank you for the disclaimer.
By saying that, you can almost guarantee that this is going to sound
Are you
creepy.
saying at one point you would just stroll out, it's breakfast, and then Demi Moore would stroll out in, like, say, a button-down dress shirt or something like that?
Well, like it's St. Elmo's Fire?
I don't think that there was a button-down dress shirt, but
that's what it would be.
Pretty much.
Good morning, TJ. Hi, Demi, right?
Oh, hi, D. Yeah.
D.
Oh.
Yeah. What up, D?
Oh.
I would never, ever profess to have such a relationship.
Yeah. See, for the first 2 years, it was he and I. We lived together in the house. It was just the two of us.
Right.
We were living entourage style. Anything that you can imagine.
Bachelors.
70 shows had just started to get big. You know, this is 2001. We're kind of living that life. And then those two meet. She moves in with her family. So we kind of like, the game got switched a little bit. And,
the game got switched a little bit.
The game got switched a little bit.
Okay.
And, but yeah, love her to death. And she,
like when was the last time you saw her?
I haven't. Well, we still stay in text contact. I haven't seen her in a little bit.
So you could drop her a text right now and say, hey, would you like to call into the Rich Eisen show at some point?
I mean, I could.
You could.
I could.
You could do that with Ashton Kutcher as well, right?
I have actually. He was gonna call. He was gonna call in.
Yes.
And then we took in March. We took that little sabbatical. Or little.
It's called a week off, is what it was called.
Well, it was a week off, but that was
called
it
was called a week off, is what it was.
I'll still work on them for you.
That's what it was. It was called a week off. Don't make it sound like it was our hiatus that we just took that lasted 6 weeks.
Yeah, we took a summer break, not a spring break.
But yeah, so that was.
Do you want to refresh that invitation? I mean, next week's a big week as we just started on Peacock. We want to put our best foot forward. We want to show that we are the cross section, the nexus of sports and
I'm
entertainment.
I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that you've moved me onto this corner as opposed to having me in the shadows, I'm not going to say it's going to help the case, but it definitely is not going to hurt the case to get him to call in.
Look, anything's better than what has come of your relationship with him, which is nothing.
Well, look, man, here's the deal, though.
And plus, just not to burst your bubble, we moved you there just because you had started using this space as your own personal junkyard or taking crap from your house right now and bringing it here. Like,
and
literally, we had to remove the Cedric the Entertainer life-size poster that you brought there when Ced called in.
Jerseys on.
Yeah, like everything. Like you started, like you.
I thought he was a friend of the show.
He is. Anybody who calls in is. Yeah. So we'd like to make Ashton into me in any way, shape, or form.
Well, not together, though.
No, dude, I just used two as these examples.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I know I just used them together. I understand that there's different matters going on in the world. That Ashton has a new wife.
Yeah.
Can you get her to call in, too? I mean, while we're at it?
I can ask.
And then we can get Jim Moore on the phone.
By the way, that's one of my favorite moments in the history of this show and our podcast. Jim Morris Sr. Does Ashton Kutcher know that Jim Morris Sr.
I've
absolutely adores Mila Kunis? Like literally what was it? Was it Ted that got it?
I believe
that got Mila Kunis on Jim Morris Sr.'s radar screen, the movie Ted?
You call her a fox or something?
Oh, my goodness.
I told Mila that a few years ago. I don't know if she would remember, but I think it was even before I started working on the show.
Yes.
I was a fan of the show. I watched it. I was upstairs. And so I definitely have told her about the Jim Morris.
Should we do a segment every now and then called What in the World of TJ or something? Like, because TJ Jefferson is truly.
It's kind of like TJ True Hollywood Stories as well.
Or Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
right,
TJ is like a Forrest Gump character who has met the world, has floated through, Do we call it 1 degree of TJ or something?
Definitely 1 degree. The thing is,
he has you have met so many people. Right. The number of people who come at Gary V is another one. Gary Vaynerchuk.
That's my man.
When he walks in here, like
Anthony Anderson
from from Monaco.
Anthony Anderson told a story when he was here about being in Monaco, right?
Yeah, at the Prince's Palace in Monaco.
Right, and he was there.
And you were there.
I was there. You know, actually, the best story I ever got to tell you weren't here for, Michael Irvin hosted.
Yes.
With Mitch Richmond. And I got to share a story from 2004 where I'd met Michael. He gave me his phone number. I saw him in a club one night, and he yelled at me.
You told me this story.
Yeah, but we actually told it on air. You weren't here that
day.
Okay. Yeah. And he yelled at me about not calling him. And then in front of a group of people at 2:20 in the morning, throws his phone down because I said he may have given me a fake number. And he got very mad. He threw the phone down, screamed at me that I should call his phone, and if it didn't ring, he'd give me $1 million. And I called it, and it rang.
Did it ring?
Looking back, I should have called someone else's number to get whatever he had in his pocket.
What year was this? Because
2004, probably.
Oh. It's a good thing he didn't have his burner phone on him.
I was going to say different phone.
That's what Mitch Richmond said.
That's what Mitch said.
And I told Mike, I said, I should have called another number. I said, I could have got whatever you had in your pocket. It would have been like $1,000, to which Michael Irvin responded, would have been a little bit more than $1,000. So I messed up.
Yeah,
I messed up.
So 1 degree of TJ?
TJ mentioned that he was living that entourage life, in the early 2000s, and it's true. He's done everything. He's seen everything. It's kind of crazy. The stories he used to tell after show, pre-baby, we would just hang out for hours here, and it would just be TJ telling stories.
And I would just be like, hey, did I ever tell you about? And you're like, what? And
I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Because I ain't want to just
golfing with Michael Jordan in the Bahamas.
Where we were in Vegas. And by the way, Rich, that is one more thing. Can I add that? I got a chance to hear Michael Jordan. Well, Michael Jordan gave me his top 5 of all time. And that was pretty amazing. That was a pretty amazing story.
So I have heard from Mike Del Tufo.
He wrote you back?
Oh, he didn't write us back.
When I say you good, all right?
Okay.
And you is, he has to answer. I mean, if I'm asking if you're good, you gotta give me an okay, right?
Yeah, fair.
He wrote back, busy with boat stuff. This is a lot of work. I have now invited him to phone into the show in the last 4 minutes and change that we have here remaining on this Wednesday program.
Guess who's gonna regret buying a boat?
Anybody who's bought a boat?
Not him.
This guy. This is gonna be a far bigger headache than he ever possibly thought. He won't admit that he regrets it.
What is the matter?
But internally, he knows it was a bad move.
He's got nothing to spend money on, and he buy Apple stock when literally it was a Macintosh computer
years ago. Yeah,
right. And today they announced that they're the first U.S. company to be worth $2 trillion.
And they got a 4-to-1 split coming up in next week.
Look at you, all of a sudden CNBC over there.
Well, I'm also an investor.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I have some Apple stock.
Excuse me. I look at you.
Don't think
many
investor.
Many words leap to mind. Investor's not one of them.
Well, it should be.
Unless you invested in the Bucks.
Rich, 1 year ago, would you look at me and say, that guy's going to be a father?
Yes, I always did that. You know that.
That's true.
I look at you now and say, that guy's a fraud coming up with crap poll questions that he makes me retweet.
Did you see the results?
It's now widening in margin of Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is friggin' Sid Gilman, just to bring things back to Tom Flores an hour or two.
Here's what's amazing. Before I had Rich hit the retweet, it was 50-50.
It was tight. Right.
Rich puts his thumb on it, and it's now 53-47.
Great. Everybody, send your kids. Send your kids to Ole Miss. That's where you get. That's fine. That's where Lane Kiffin opens up his mind to the children there and the kids and makes them grown ass men. And, in previous times, the coach there might pay your electric bill before he runs off and coaches from a dentist chair in Liberty. That's where you want your kid to go. Send him there. Oh, yeah. Send him there.
I got you today.
Who's on the show tomorrow? Jerome Bettis is on tomorrow's program.
Rob Riggle tomorrow.
Jerome Bettis owes me.
He does owe the show.
He owes me a photograph of him at Notre Dame, which is apparently playing football this fall. So if he goes to Notre Dame this fall, he's got to put on a hat that says, I should have gone to Michigan. We got to make him the hat.
We got to make the hat. We have
right?
to make the hat. Yes.
So there's that. He's on tomorrow's show. Rob Riggle's on tomorrow's show. Also on tomorrow's program, Chris Mannix calls in from the bubble.
Oh, great.
Oh, baby. Mr. B.A. Bruce Arians is on tomorrow's program. Oh, I love that guy. No risk it, no biscuit. Tom friggin' Brady. Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
These videos the Bucks are tweeting out too. Like Brady's doing these letters to his parents on his Instagram story.
Why does that piss you off?
I just
because
miss
it's not yours anymore.
him.
I know he's not yours anymore.
It's love, Rich. You lose your love.
I know. You lose your love. You know what happens? You start wearing neck scarves for just cause. That's just cause. You come in one day, you look like Pharrell on a bender, and the next day, you just keep the scarf just cause. That's what happens when Tom Brady leaves your life.
You got Cam now, though, baby.
Yeah.
And look at you with your message going out the door. Clippers in 4, huh?
By the way, I think
Blazers in 6, Clippers in 4.
I think the Mavs win tonight.
From now on, lead with the Demi Moore story, not the Michael Hawley story, okay?
Okay.
Thanks to Tania Ganguli, Tom Flores, Tony Stewart, and Jim Belushi, and you. We'll see you Thursday.